What's up, guys? Happy Saturday to everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Excited to sit down and watch this developer update. We haven't even looked at it once yet. I was at work all day yesterday, so I didn't really get to look at anything. Alrighty. Couple things before we get started here. If you haven't seen any videos on Ashes of Creation before, I recommend going on YouTube, look up Lazy Peon, Ashes of Creation. You'll find about a 30-minute video on there. He gives a pretty good description of kind of the base overview of the game. That's actually the video I saw that got me into the game, and that's the one I would recommend to you guys. If you're looking for a guild for either the game that's coming out, New World, or Ashes of Creation, Validus, I have the Discord links for that guild down in the description on the Twitch channel, or you can go to my Discord, which is also in the description, and get it there. But instead of talking, why don't we get started on this here? Got the video. If it's too loud or you guys need it turned down or up, just speak out, man, and I'll change the volume. But recording earlier sounded like it was gonna be pretty good with a different video I tested it on. Let's get started.
Hello, glorious Ashes of Creation community. Welcome to our August development update. We hope that you have been having a wonderful month. I still can't believe it's August. I keep forgetting, oh yeah, we just had our Alpha 1 stuff. It's just madness. How are you doing, Stephen?
I am a bit mad at my recording this morning. I'm sorry, that's totally my fault that we were late. I wanted to, of course, record something. And when I jumped in, my recording failed to record 4 different times. And I was like, oh, I mean, each time it was successively like more angry I got until finally it worked on like the fifth try, and I just had to calm and collect myself and just like goose fraba it, like just let it go. That's what I did.
So you can try to hear it in his voice when the video comes
Yeah.
out. But this is why I
John was
remind you a million times
I
before
oh
to
I
do the
tried.
video.
I tried last night, and I tried to fit it. I tried to fit it in, and then this I was waiting on something else this morning, and then something broke, and so I couldn't record what I wanted to record in the dev branch. I was at like 7 in the morning in the engineering channel. I'm like, this is broken and this is broken. Like, how did this go wrong?
Over
They're
one
like,
night, right?
I know over one night. There's just so
Beauty
many
of development.
changes. Yes.
Um, but of course, thank you all for hanging out with us. We hope that you enjoy the fan art. And actually, we have a little bit of the fan art playing in the bottom here. But if you join us early in the stream, we usually always have that playing just so people can see it.
I really like
Well,
this
I'll get
fan
right
art that
into
they
it. Of
pop up
course,
here
I'm
every
Margaret
week.
Crone. I'm our community marketing lead here at Ashes of Creation. And with me, as always, is Stephen Sharif, our creative director. Today, we are going to be going over some of our reminders. We have a studio update, design update, environment art update, and character update. As per usual, we like to show everything off from all of our teams, and we will do a little Q&A as well. So thank you guys for putting in your questions in advance. We always enjoy that. And if your question doesn't get answered here, our community team is amazing. And actually, we have Vacnar, who's a new community member, a community manager on our team, along with Lieutenant Toast will be answering your questions over there on the forums as well. So even if it's not answered here, you probably might see the answer over there because a lot of the questions are repeat questions usually.
I see a lot of people, by the way, asking
Yeah.
if we're in the studio yet. We are primarily in the studio,
Yes.
but from a recording standpoint, we don't yet have our recording room set up.
Which we'll talk a little bit about that in the studio update. But yeah, our conference rooms aren't completely ready to rock and roll yet. So once those are good to go, I will
And with all
be
this COVID stuff, I'm kind of
reusing and
happy that
repurposing one or
they
hopefully
eventually got
using it
into their
for live stream
actual
stuff. And
studio.
we actually
Stuff
just
should
hired
start
on a
moving a
video editor
lot
as well who
faster
will
here
be
soon.
assisting with that stuff. He's awesome as well. Good peeps.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see Z says we need the fan art wall.
Oh, we definitely are planning on having one in the community area, so don't worry. Or maybe we'll put it in like the game room area so
Oh
people can see it when they
yeah.
walk or in that area all the time.
Cool.
Game room.
Yeah, so we'll figure it out. But I mean, you guys have sent us so much fan art. We probably will have multiple walls with fan art
We'll
on it.
have
So
the wall of fame and the wall of shame
no,
and the wall.
we have talked about a wall of shame. We get some like crazy messages sometimes too, um, to say the least. But I'll get right into the reminders. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about web updates. If you didn't notice, we did have downtime last month. This allowed us to put in PayPal. We did a couple bug fixes as well, but primarily PayPal was the main thing that we were fixing as a payment processor. We know there's a couple different issues in regards to that as well. We're working to resolve those. And on top of that, we have web design for our support section of our site that's going to kind of incorporate matching it to the rest of our website. If you haven't noticed, that hasn't really transitioned over, as well as the forums, but we're going to start with the support because forums requires a lot more back-end stuff to happen. Beyond that, we're also doing back-end work that touches accounts and our SSO. This is going to help us provide more options for 2FA account security and also providing better login integration solutions cross-platform. So that means you'll be able to log in and it'll work with our from web, which includes forums and support, and then the launcher in the future, as well as our phone app in the future as well. So kind of like integrating all of those things so you have like one profile that attaches to all of those. Right now, you probably notice you have to like log in and then you log into forums and you log into the support separately. It'll all be like one conglomerate thing. So that is my goal eventually. It just takes a lot of back end for us to do. And if you hear my cats yelling in the background, I
I was
apologize.
about to say, what the hell is that noise? I thought that was coming from
Yeah,
my
they're like,
house.
so one of them chucks the mouse in the air, and then the other one goes and chases it, and then the other one chucks it. It's the beauty of
Oh
having
my
two cats is they
gosh.
will play with each other. But yeah,
Are these living mice or toy mice?
oh, toy mice.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
got it.
and they have like this little worm thing that they chuck around too. I don't know. But yeah, so I think that those are kind of the main things. And this will also allow us to provide you better user messaging in regards to like anytime an account a change is made on your account as well. So like if a password is updated or things like that. We know that some of that stuff is not completely in the right state. So we want to bring it all up to date. I know, not fun stuff. So we'll move into more fun stuff. We've got our Alpha 1. This one does not include our Alpha 1 stuff, but our monthly cosmetic swap over is going to be happening on September 1st, 2021.
This is actually
which
the
is
pack
the
that
Seers of the Black Root. So
I
if you would
bought.
like
It was
these,
right
make
here.
sure you snag them up before our next set is released. We've got our dev discussion that we put out this month, which was what are some of the key elements you should be introduced to as a new player, and how much hand holding do you generally like to see in game? I'm sorry, they're like being really loud.
What
I hear
is this
chat.
mouse? What is this mechanical toy mouse
It's
doing
not a
to
mechanical
them?
toy. It's just one of those little tiny like toys. They're just going crazy. I'm sorry. It's distracting. But we really do want to know what your opinions are on new player experience. Obviously, that's the most important thing. I know there's some people in our community who have said this is going to be the first MMORPG that they've ever played. And, that is amazing for us to be part of that experience for you. I remember my first MMO. I don't know if Steven remembers his, but it's
Oh, I remember
definitely,
mine.
yeah, like we really do want to make sure that we're making the experience.
As far as like a new player experience goes, I think what you really want is talk about, all right, so you first get into the game. What do you see in the game? So Ashes of Creation's got this really, really good art all over the place. That's what I would want to see. Uh, you create your character, on a separate app or whatever they're going to do right now. That's what they're talking. So when you load in, you don't have all that character creation, all that BS right at the start, right? So you have your character made before you actually start the game, but it's on a different launcher, is what they said they're going to do. So when you come in, what I would like to see is some kind of opening cinematic where it, it comes in, it's like a drone view, and you get to see all the nice art, you get to see how big this world is, and then it comes down to your character, and then, you feel immersed in the game. But as a new player experience, I would want the option of like a tutorial of which way, how do I do this and how do I do that. Let's say I'm a seasoned player that's playing, alphas and betas for the game. Maybe I'd want to skip that, I don't want to go through the tutorial of, well, this is how you walk over to this person, this is how you talk, and this is how you attack. As far as like a new player experience, I would consider that day one gameplay. That's what I would expect. What do you guys think about that?
It's great for you and also for everybody. So if you have opinions, please share those. I believe the community team is going to be making a report here shortly, so make sure you get those questions or those answers and in there.
I remember my first death in an MMO, actually.
I think that's a
It
great
was,
plan. It also helps
it was
players reserve
Neverwinter
names
Nights
for
on AOL, and
characters.
I had just gotten a.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like that. Like, what is it? I think it's the $350 pack and the $150 pack right now get you name reservations. I really like that because, like, take a different game for example, New World. When that came out, it was like I didn't even care what my character looked like. Just let me get in this sucker and start playing. But for Ashes, you're going to invest so much time into one character because it's not a very alternate character friendly game like some other MMOs are. I'm going to want to make it, look good. That's the thing you're staring at, looking at all the time, and I've said it on past streams like when we're playing Neverwinter. If your character don't look good, probably ain't going to play good. I like looking good and playing good at the same time. It just makes me want to puke when you see some high-end player and they got some trash-looking armor on. It's like, what the heck are you doing with your life?
A quest to go like seek out some dragon egg or something, and then I walked into this room and boom, the combat started and a poison cloud got cast on me, which was like a 9th level spell or something from this Dracolich, and I was like a level 3 rogue, and it killed me instantly, and I was just like, oh, that's unfortunate. I didn't even know you could die because I was like 7 years old.
I could definitely see that.
You could
and then
die.
You're like, now what do I do?
Yeah, pretty much.
And of course, next month for our September dev discussion, we're going to be asking you about the much anticipated character creation. So we would love, love, love you to get your thoughts in on that. We know that a lot of people have opinions. So if you have opinions, send them over our way. In regards to our guild discussion, we had a question for you, which is what characteristics make an ideal member for your guild? How do you set and communicate those expectations and keep track of a member's performance against them? Now, this will help us a ton in regards to some of the systems we're building for guilds. So
this one's super important.
There, toss your answers in because that is going to assist us.
I've had some games where being a guild member is just
stuff that
terrible.
We're going to be talking about next month. So we'd love for you to give us your feedback.
Sorry about the apps, guys. Nothing I can really do. But it's alright. We're supporting Ashes by watching them. One thing I will say about guilds is like the guild systems really, really make or break like that really immersive like MMO content, I think. Like one game that I don't think does guilds really well is Neverwinter. Like the only really benefit for that is you get more powers and there's nothing really that gets you to go in and do stuff with your guild. Whereas Ashes of Creation is going to have plethora. Like, we don't even know all of the stuff, just what they've kind of had in visions for us.
Beyond that,
But I mean, all of the people that you're going to play with in your guild, there's going to be even more than just that. As far as like what you expect in a guild member, I've never been a guild leader, so I wouldn't be able to make expectations on that. But what I can say is what I expect out of myself as a guild member is I expect myself to be a part of the guild, a part of the discussions, a part of the content we play. You know, if we need 10,000 gold to build this building for so and so to do X and Y and Z, and the guild is trying to go for that, you know, I should be contributing to that. To me, that's what a guild member needs to do. Also, when you're out in the world, and this is also very important, not being a pompous idiot everywhere you go with the name. For me, it'd be Validus on Ashes of Creation, you know, not being an a-hole everywhere I go giving us a bad name, you know, unless that's what we're going for, which, being in the Discord as long as I have, I don't think that's the route we're trying to go, you know. But then they talk about an app integration. I think that would be super nice. I don't know how many times before I had Discord, like when I was playing on an Xbox, you never know what's going on. With Discord, you could probably manage it pretty well, but if you could get timers from in-game on an app for, say, you know, some kind of raid or some dungeon just opened up and hey, we're gonna go do dungeon delving in this place, or we're gonna do a siege on this area. I think an app could do that pretty well. I don't know. That's kind of where it's important to jump in these discussions and give your inputs, even if you don't know a whole lot about the development of games and stuff. I know nothing. You know, I know nothing about making a game. But all I can do is give input on games that I've played in the past, and then when we get to Alpha 2, we can go from there. What's up, We're just chilling, man. We're just getting through the first part of the stuff. We talked about guilds and guild members and new player experience. Tuned in a little late. Hey, man. Never too late.
um, we know that people have been asking about the content creator program. Remember that we are still hiring for a position. We had so many people interested in wanting to be part of this program.
This
We want
content
as many
creator
people to be in
program I
this
did
program as
sign up
possible.
for.
But what that means is that we need more. We need somebody to help manage the program. If it was a couple hundred people, I think I could manage it on top of my other stuff. But it is a couple plus thousands of people. So we do want you guys all to be part of our journey here and to help build our community and help build your communities. And our goal is to create a content creator program that is like nothing else that you have experienced at any other studio. It's really going to be something where we help build a community together, not only yours, but ours as a whole. Beyond that, once we do hire on a person, we are in our second round of interviews in regards to that. We have a couple candidates who look promising, so we'll see what happens in regards to those.
What's this
We'll be
program?
sending them over to Steven. I think a couple are already.
So the content creator
And once we do
program
hire
is
on
a
that
thing
staff
you
member,
sign
not
up
only are
for
we
an
gonna have a content creator
application.
program,
So
but
if
we
you're
are building
doing
out a content
YouTube,
creator
or you're
training
doing
academy
clips on
where
Twitch, or you're
people
doing
can
Twitch
kind of
streaming or
go into that
Facebook or
first to have
whatever,
it train you to get
you
up to
sign
speed
up
where we
for
think
this,
that
right?
you should be at before,
And
if
you
you're
can
not
get,
quite at the point where
say I
we
get
want to give you
accepted.
an invite to the content
You know,
creator
I put in an
program.
application, they accept me.
And of course, there will be some
What they
people who
do is
just
they'd
won't get
help
into
me
the
build
program,
my
but
stream.
we'll always
So
email
like
you
my
and let you know
overlays and all that, I'd get
what to
custom like
engage with.
emblems.
It's usually people
They'd
who
help
have
me
no
figure out
content.
what I
Like
could
they literally have
do,
no content
how
on
to
their website right now.
improve,
If you
and then
apply
they'd
and you
send
have
me
no
out there
YouTube
with their
content or
curated
no Twitch
content
that's
of,
hard for us
you
to
know,
look at your content
badges
and
from
tell
Ashes,
if you're,
exclusive videos,
streaming
all of that jazz.
regularly, or if you're making content regularly, or
What if
looking
they
at the
have
And
like,
quality of
then,
your content.
what if it's like MySpace content or something?
I mean, you can
dude,
just keep
that's
it
really
creative.
awesome
I
for what
mean,
you're
look at
aiming
we have
for.
some people
That's
who make
exactly what
comics
I'm
and stuff
aiming
like that.
for.
That's
And
still
like,
content creation to
they
some
have
extent,
a,
right? I think it just
they
depends
have
on the
basically a
consistency of
training
your
academy
content
type
and
deal for it
like
too.
the quality,
So
much
like,
more so.
even if
Like
they don't make you a
the two things
content
go hand in hand.
creator
We're
right
not looking
away,
at
if they
following and
accept
things like
you,
that. That's not.
They'll
I know people
pull
have
you
asked
into
like
the
how many
training,
hours do I need? That's
and
not
then
what
when
we're
they think
looking
you're good
for.
enough to
We
go,
want
they'll get you all set
good
up and then
quality
send you out there to
apprentices.
do it.
All right.
As
With
far as what
that,
the
I'm gonna toss
limitations
it
and all that
over
are, I have
to
no idea.
Steven to
I'm sure
talk a
that
little
would
bit
be
about
delved into a little bit
studios.
further once you get
Studio
in.
updates, absolutely. So, I think we have about what 70% of our team back into the studio right now. So things are going
70% is
very well on
good.
that front. I gotta give a huge shout out because oftentimes in a development scene, you don't hear about the IT guys or the system administrator, and we have a very awesome sysadmin, a gentleman by the name of Jason Zimmerman, who has been doing a lot of work helping get everybody back into the studio, and he has been shouldering a lot of that responsibility himself, and he's done an amazing job. So Zim, if you're watching, the community sends you hearts and love. You are
Put a lot of hearts in chat for him.
a lot of hearts and pogs for Jason, or as we call him, Zim. So things are going really well on that front. Additionally, we've had some great hires over the past
What's my thoughts as
month.
Steven as
I
a
think we've
person?
had 6 or 7 just this last 30 days, which
I think he's just
these
a guy
very
like
talented
everybody else
individuals
playing
joining the team
MMOs,
you'll
you know? Like
probably
he
see
wants to
more of
play
as we
something fun,
get
and
into the
then
dev diaries
he's talked
again
about it in
and
past
do
interviews where he's
future
just like, you know,
streams and
everybody's
whatnot.
putting
But
out this
very
dog crap,
excited for the talent
and I'm
that
sick of
is
it.
joining the
I can't
industry.
remember the exact
It's exciting
analogy
to
he
see,
used
obviously,
in a
growth.
past stream. I think it
It's
was
also
with his
very
interview
exciting
with
just to see
Asmongold.
the sheer talent amongst the pool of candidates that we
I'm
are
gonna
now getting.
botch this, but
As I think has been
he was
proven
like,
by,
you know, they're
in part,
feeding
you
you dog
guys, the
crap and you're
community,
just
helping to
yum
spread
yumming it
awareness
up,
for
you
the
know.
studio and for the
But it's still
project,
dog crap.
and for
And he just got
helping
sick of
to
it, and
kind
he
of
said, you know what, I'm
retweet
gonna make
or
my own.
share
I'm like, that's
our
respectable.
job postings that we have available.
But as a person, he seems like a really good guy, and I'm sure it's different when he's off stream, but it seems like a guy that wants to get his vision done, and he's moving it forward in the right way, I think, personally. Also, I think Ashes of Creation is such a big like idea. I've never even heard of a game with as many aspirations and ideas as this game. Like, not even close. The fact that they got as far as they have in a year, you know, before Alpha 1, we had really no idea what it was going to look like. We had a couple videos and a couple art posts and all of that, but when you actually get in, they get a test in, and if you watch some live streams, it looks great. That's only like first pass on most stuff. Like it's gonna look even better.
We still have many more positions to fill. Obviously, while the team size is large now, we are going to be getting ever so larger, and we have space to grow now that we're in our new studio. Still waiting on some of the ancillary furniture, our conference room furnitures, our cafeteria furniture, a lot of the seating, kind of lounge area stuff. Once that stuff gets in, you guys, Margaret is like literally foaming at the mouth to record footage inside the studio.
I just wanted to do like a little water cooler like vibe. I was gonna do kind of like an Instagram stories, Snapchat thing that's like we ask a different developer every day like a question, and it doesn't always have to be like development oriented, but kind of like behind the scenes, getting to know the devs.
Is it just me, or does
Steven's
it
like,
feel
no
like the
more.
qualification to
Not yet.
get
I
into
find
the
it's usually
studio
the
would
other way
be
around with me going, no.
A, you have to
Let's
be a
make sure
neckbeard.
everything is tip top
Like you
and
gotta be this
in place prior to doing
D&D
any sneak
tabletop
peeks in the studio. But yes,
Yeah.
no, there's
neckbeard.
a lot of great content that's planned. You guys are going to enjoy getting to meet the team again. You know, obviously there's
This
still some
interview's
concern
gotta be
with regards
wild getting
to
into this
COVID and
place.
this Delta variant stuff and kind of the the issues we've been having here in the States. Hopefully that doesn't continue to get worse, but we're keeping an eye on it, and obviously our first priority is the safety of our team. But with that being said, we are super excited to get the videos rolling again and move from out of this at home
Happy they're
stream
having
location
fun
to the
still
office,
creating
'cause
the
that's gonna be
game.
fun again as well.
So that makes me feel like
And
the game's going
yes,
in a
ma'am.
good
we're like
direction.
building
I'd be really
out,
concerned if they
now that we
were
have our our video, our new
Not
style
as
of video editing.
enthusiastic about what they're doing.
Him and I are kind of working out the new, like, in studio, what that's going to look like and what kind of equipment we're going to have. So when we do come back, it's going to be a much higher quality visual for you all. Because some people were like, I actually think this is higher quality from home.
Steven does a good
Which
job
makes sense
keeping the
to some
fire
extent 'cause
going.
we were
Yeah,
kind of
definitely.
using like a webcam from the office, but we're gonna have like proper cameras and stuff. So we'll be
Exciting.
setting up some cool, exciting stuff.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
By the way, you know what somebody reminded me of the other day? And I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but like, do you know we're only like 2 months away from Extra Life again?
I know. Yeah. Well, oh yeah, I know. I'm planning for it.
You better get those vocal cords ready. Are we doing some Disney songs again?
Oh, the Disney song. Oh, I was so nervous.
I looked it up because I was
That was
curious
so
as to
great.
how
Yeah.
many people
We
actually
need to practice
work
if
for
we're gonna do
Intrepid
that again.
Studios.
Oh yes, we need to start doing
we should
some
practice the
vocal
duet,
lessons.
Steven.
I know.
It says
we need to practice
65
the duet.
employees
That's what
on
we need to do.
Tell
Google.
us, community, what Disney song would you
70%
we
of those
should, like,
people
we should do some,
are
yeah,
in
some,
studio
like,
right now.
engagements and see what like the desires are on the community side of, for us
Maybe
to do
we'll
stuff.
have Lieutenant Toast and Vacnar put together some.
So you only got
questions like that.
45, 46
Yes.
people
Guys, yeah.
in studio
Yes.
out of your 65,
So
and they're
that's
looking
all-
to hire more.
that's
Like,
all
I feel like
exciting.
once you
I'm
get
excited for that.
more and more
Well,
and more
we're
and more and
coming up, too,
more,
'cause October's
I
coming
this
up.
game's just gonna really fly.
One of my favorite holidays, Halloween. I love it. I can't wait to see the pumpkins again and all the
Oh my
jack-o'-lanterns.
gosh, community's crazy. Y'all create some amazing stuff.
You literally like
So
Margaret.
that's all
She
going
is a
good.
hype.
Hiring's going well.
I would agree. These
So
two are
we have our
perfect for this stream.
huge, kind of retrospective that we've been doing since August 15th, and now design is moving off to documentation and pitch phase for some
Increased the
changes
staff a few months back. Yeah, I don't know how close that number
Alpha
from
1
Google
and
is, but
some of the
I would
things that we
assume
want
it's
to change going
close.
forward. Engineering is looking at, well, I guess we can get into those when we get into the sections. But anyways, we're going through retrospective at the studio. It's been very, very good.
Yeah, they almost have to pick up the
obviously
pace,
have
you
all of our
know?
team members go through
You
the
got the
feedback,
alpha
the forum
going.
commentary,
Now
the
everybody's
Reddit
seeing
posts, all of your
No
social media
NDA.
commentary, which community has done an amazing
You gotta fly,
job
man.
summarizing that into a report that is
Multiple
just
reports.
I was going to say multiple reports that are very in depth and in detail, and it's a huge help. So big props to the community team, not just during the live ops service of actual Alpha 1, but also in the post Alpha 1 duties that you guys have been fulfilling. A really amazing job, Sarah, Margaret, and Cody. Yeah.
Adam.
Adam, exactly.
Peter. Yeah.
So you got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Once you start naming one, you gotta name them all. But yeah, they all did an amazing job putting together the reporting in regards to their fields, and we tried to go as quickly as we could, not as quickly as we could, but be as thorough and get you guys data as quickly.
I should have looked this up. If they have like a log for the bug reports people have logged, like if the community can see that, that'd be kind of interesting to see.
A little bit more in depth. We are going to be doing those. Production's going to be sending that list to us soon. And if they want feedback on something that you guys didn't really talk about, we may put out some little mini dev discussions just to the Alpha 1 testers in regards to that, or maybe just broad. We could do them broader as well. Maybe we'll have to discuss that, because I think it'll depend on if it's like something that's.
Turn that down so I don't blow you guys' ears out. As far as the dev discussions go, I would really like to see more Q&A stuff, but I know it's kind of hard for them to do the Q&As, especially when it's the same stuff getting asked over and over and over, or it's questions on like, I can't really answer that without putting my foot in my mouth. Like, a lot of people ask those questions. It's like, how is he supposed to answer that, you know? Like, there's so many of them that they just pass over.
Feedback. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because like if you were watching something and being able to get feedback.
Like the amount of people that don't understand what an alpha test is after watching all of these dev discussions
going on, and
is crazy.
We'll talk a little bit more, and I guess we can kind of move into design. Do you want to play the video first, or do you want to talk a little bit about some
Oh yeah, here we
Sure.
go.
Yeah,
Good
we can play
video.
the video first. This is a super short video.
Favorite parts.
wanted to do something else, but there was a little bit of a bug in the development build, which is fine. So,
Was it the combat bugs? That one?
yeah,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
combat bug,
Combat.
and there was
Yeah.
like a zoom issue, and it's okay. It was fixed. But
It's all
One
working
day
out.
and it's broke.
I know. It's unfortunate. But this so last month I gave a description.
I haven't watched this
what
video
I
yet
felt
either,
was
Oath.
a really accurate description of the terror bird.
Someone did clip it for
Did you
me,
guys
so
see
thank
that
you. It
when he was
so
talking about that terror
funny.
bird?
I laughed out loud. It was great.
Yes, so I wanted to actually just kind of show you the terror bird in the game, and also, show you. I don't know if you guys remember the Thundering Bolt Beast, and show you the new flower monsters and some of
Thundering
the
Bolt
VFX
Beast.
changes that we're doing based on feedback from the Alpha
I don't
1.
think I remember what that is.
It's just a quick little 5-minute video. But of course, I know you guys enjoy that stuff. So yeah, we can start with that, and then we can go into design after.
All right. I'm just remembering when I designed the Thundering Bolt Beast, Steven's like, Margaret, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, that tail, Margaret. Like, you're going to give one of the animators a heart attack. How many joints are needed for each of those little wings?
Yeah, this is when we transitioned over to, like, we have to use the base models for everything. All right. Well, video is going to be playing here, and we'll see you right after.
Hello, glorious Ashes
Man.
of Creation community. Welcome to another stream day inside of Ashes of Creation. The world's a little lonely right now. Our month-long Alpha 1 test has finished, and there are no testers to be seen.
I'll turn it up a little bit
Which
here.
is probably good for them, because I just wanted to take a second.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Stream, I gave a masterful description of a new mount that had been introduced called the Terror Bird. And I wanted to actually, complement that very well done description with actually seeing the Terror Bird in game. And so, yeah, like I said, it's good there's probably no testers around.
Margaret is nerdy hot.
Is hungry, very hungry. But just wanted to show you guys.
I like the Bob Ross.
We have a lot of work ahead of us towards Alpha 2. Part of that work is, of course, introducing content into the game and the different creatures and mounts and.
Hold up a sec here. Can we just
quest lines and fleshing out
appreciate
the core systems that we
how
demonstrate.
good that terror bird looks for a first pass? Like, that is crazy. Well, in the pause screen it looks like dog crap, but it looks nice. Like, think about it. If they're on first pass, I think it was like, man, last February they were talking. They'd probably do like 4 more passes. Like, it's gonna look even better than that. And you guys are seeing it in 1080p off of my monitor. You know, that's what I'm streaming to you, so I mean, it's gonna look even cleaner than that. The Fox mount is the best. Everybody's gonna have that Fox mount parallax. It does look cool, but everybody's gonna have that. I like riding stuff that nobody else is using. Like Neverwinter, they had a blue ribbon pig. It was just literally a pig with a blue ribbon. It was the most hilarious thing to be running around on. Just this pig just booking it. But this terror bird looks dope. All other mounts have looked cool.
Created in Alpha 1, and this guy's part of that work, and that stuff's making it into the game. We have a long road ahead of us, of course, but we got a great amount of feedback from Alpha 1 across our forums, Reddit, social medias, Discord. Even if you weren't a tester, and we love our testers, but even if you weren't a tester, participating in that conversation and giving your feedback is a super important part, as I've said many, many times. But yeah, take a look at this guy. He's pretty cool. We're going to have some variants of him in soon as well. You may remember, actually, I think I have one more mount I can show as well. You might remember...
I like how when he's moving, like his feathers are still moving, like he's got the head moving. They got a lot going into this.
The Thundering Bolt Beast, and now his animations are complete. Our masterful animator, Bradford Constantine, I think, did the animations for this guy.
Gear set? Yeah, that looks
pretty cool. I like to
cool.
call him the Chicken Runner. Because when he's on land, he kind of runs to me like a chicken, a little bit. He's just kind of striding, enjoying life, doing
that thing looks dope.
In the world of Vera. And he can sprint on land as well, I believe is one of his initial abilities. Let's see. Oh yeah, he just takes longer strides. But something that's cool about these guys, particularly these types of mounts that have the ability to glide, is of course you have to
Chicken runner.
level up the mount for it to get a greater glide distance. So initially it might not be super capable
See
of
this
gliding.
badass squad.
Let's see how far I can glide. All right, here we go. Wait for it. Wait for it. And oh, look at that. Okay, not too bad.
What
Not
the
too bad.
fuck?
That glide, I mean, for not having been leveled up at all, the glide's pretty good. But as you level him up, he'll be able to glide further and further and further.
Whoa. So he said that you can level up your glide? Was that like level -10 and move for like, what, half a foot?
If you manage, of course, as you know, if you manage to become a mayor of a metropolis or the king or queen of a castle, or if you get this guy as like a limited time drop off of a world boss, then you'll have the ability to be amongst the very few who can fly him. And when he flies, he is majestic.
Whoa.
Oh, I love the cool tail and all the wings on him.
I like how it's got
It
the
is
light effects
pretty
on the
awesome,
wings.
this guy. So yeah, just wanted to jump in, give you a look at some of these creatures. Of course, you guys saw some of the combat changes that we did. Oh, we got some flowers down there. Hold on one second. We're going to be continuing moving forward with those combat
looks like
changes.
my
One
kind of
cool thing
mount.
you might see as well is some of the adjustments to our visual effects and just art overall, right, as we move forward. For example, this Radiant Burst, we got a lot of feedback about the sparkles. And in the first pass, of course, sparkles are easy to do. But now that we've had some time initially to kind of look at that feedback,
Yeah, his
we'll
air
see the
visuals
Radiant
are way
Burst
better.
effect has changed to something a little
Much,
bit more
much better.
indicative of what effects are going to look like going forward. I love this plant creature. These poor guys, when they die, their petals just go.
Okay, this is what makes me nervous here. How he just Harry Pottered the shit out of that flower. I mean, doesn't that seem like that was really fast attacks? I don't know if like the swords and all that are gonna attack that fast, but that's quick. That might just be me. That just looked like a basic attack. That's all he was doing. Thing was cooking.
But yes, so little short update in the empty game world of Ashes of Creation right now as we continue development towards Alpha 2. But I will see you guys back on stream.
I like
here
their
in just
death
a little bit.
animations for those too. The petals falling off. It's nice.
And we're
Small
back.
stuff like that is
oh my
gonna
gosh, the
make the
petals
game look
falling
nice,
off.
you
That
know?
death animation is so cool. I was
I know,
watching.
I feel bad every time that thing dies.
It's so beautiful. And then when I was watching the thundering bolt beast fly, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it is a little weird. Why
No,
did I design that? I don't know what I was thinking.
I think it looks great. It's a cool beast. You guys will notice also in the footage that there's some heavy clipping. That's some just general touch-ups after after a mount is added to a game. You know, you're going to have those types of clipping issues, but those will be touched up. And you know, it's cool.
Yeah, I
with the
wouldn't be
Thundering
worried
Bolt
about
Beast,
clipping
actually,
right now.
you know, a lot of people have always asked, like, well, what's going to be the degree by which you can actually glide with these types of gliding mounts, right? And that's something that has to be built up over time for the mount itself as it levels up, essentially. And I think we might even include, this is some design discussions we've been having, you know, there's variance among the speeds that mounts can have based on how those mounts get introduced into the world, whether it be through the animal husbandry system or whether it be through merchant tables or through rare drops or granted by title requirements. They'll have varying degrees of abilities like speed, and they might also have modifiers to their glide distance as well. So that, when I just jumped off, it was very little glide, like there was no glide at all almost. But as you level it up or you get higher training for the mount, the abilities to glide will be much further and further and further. So that was something that was cool. But yeah, no, I love the way.
I wonder how much training would actually take to get that thing to actually glide, you know? Or how you would
all right,
train
well,
it.
let's talk a
That's
little
what I'd
bit
be interested
about you know, what design has been doing. We'll step back a little bit and talk a little bit about Alpha 1. What data did you guys gather, and how do you think it's going to be helping us as we move forward towards Alpha 2 milestone?
Sure. So, a lot of really what design has been focusing on as part of these since August 15th,
What's up,
has been
Ashley?
kind
Welcome
of
to the stream.
drilling into
What do you think
the
that mount they got
existing
on screen?
documentation around our core mechanics and systems and applying what we visually observed during Alpha 1. For example, one of the
That's
big
super
systems obviously is
extensive
combat, right? Combat is a
glide.
very integral component of any MMORPG. It's the most tactile interfaced with system in the game. And you guys saw some of the initial combat changes that we were able to roll out during Alpha 1, but now as we move forward towards Alpha 2, we're really going to start expanding, fleshing that out further, adding additional polish for those, because there's a lot of subtleties that go into combat, right? And many of those subtleties have to do with UI and how we present information to the player. They go into, you know, specific timings with our frames and the attacks for weapons. They go into kind of the ability design and what we learned from that. So as design kind of observed feedback both from players as well as collected the data from Alpha 1, we're using that to kind of reanalyze, and actually we have about, I think we have, after this retrospective, I think it's probably going to be at least, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks of many hours.
You know how some carriers give you so little for your older busted phone you just end up living with it? I don't think so. Verizon lets you trade in your broken phone.
So as far as the Alpha 1 goes, when they say they need 2 or 3 weeks to just kind of dive into the bugs, I don't think that's bad time at all. I think that's very respectable timing. I mean, even if it took 2 months to fix all of those bugs, while they're adding stuff, because they've been saying that they've been adding Alpha 2 stuff on their testing servers. Not what Alpha 1's been playing, but they've been working on the Alpha 2 content while the Alpha was still going, which means they're still moving forward while they're testing what they already have, which is good. When do you guys think Alpha 2 will drop? I'm gonna say next November. November 2022.
With the design team as we go through what we call the pitch phase, where each designer is assigned essentially a particular system that they go through the documentation for, and based on observations from Alpha 1 or based on the discussions that we've had with the community, they start identifying components of a particular system and
Just keep
presenting
making
pitches
progress.
for how we might change
I agree.
those particular systems in
Guy
anticipation
can hope
for Alpha
both.
2.
Guy can hope.
And then that pitch gets presented to myself and to our design quorum and to the other designers, where it's then open for conversation and discussion. And obviously, it's very helpful to have the documents that community provides the developers, so that we can get a good summary of what's out there from a discussion standpoint amongst the community, and we can incorporate that as part of our internal reviews of these systems and those pitches. So that's generally what design has been up to thus far. From an actual implementation standpoint, there's some additional components such as tool
Stop
request
guessing after all the delays. Yeah.
helping to flesh out additional parts of the world map.
I
as
still
we're
like
moving
guessing.
towards
Maybe
Alpha
I'll be
2.
a smart
Obviously,
guy
it's a
later on, you
significant
know.
expansion of the world. So that's going to incorporate, everything across the board, from design, from narrative to world pop to level design to fleshing out itemization and additional resource components. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's on the plate for
Hope it's
Alpha
under
2.
5 years
that
from now.
design is
Jesus.
now essentially going to be helping to guide the other departments as part of what our desires are for Alpha 2.
All I can say is, if they started doing Alpha, no NDA right now, and they went 5 years from right now, that's a long time until release. I don't think that. I think 3 years is probably the maximum they can keep everybody interested. Like, I think you're still gonna have your diehards that stay around, but like, they got so many people finding out about this game, and like I know they can't let that rush them. But like you said, Steven's got to keep a good pace to the game. People are predicting 3 to 5, yeah, but as you start adding more developers, more artists, more design engineers, all of that, it's only going to go faster as they start learning how to do their bugs, start getting their base models in. I think the sooner they get to Alpha 2, I think the betas will go much quicker. You know? Because that's really where all the development is as far as how they portray their Alpha 2. All of the base models of the systems and characters and like the character models, most of their mounts, like pretty much everything's supposed to be in when they get to Alpha 2. So once they get to Alpha 2 and they got most of their bugs worked out from all of their time in between Alpha 1 and Alpha 2, I think Alpha 2 is going to go way more swimmingly than Alpha 1, but then you also got to think about they're adding like, what did he say? Alpha 1's only like 30% of what they got in store for the game. So I mean, Alpha 2 could just be a clusterfuck. Yeah, you have no idea. You have to remember that the longer they push the game, the longer they can make money on all these packs. Business plays a part. I would agree. I would agree that, they still have to run it like a business. But right now, they've said it multiple times too. They don't want you to buy the pack till you're sold on it. They don't need you to buy the pack to support the business. The business is paid for. Everything's funded right now. So I don't think the money's the objection for them. I think what they're trying to do is just make sure that on their end they put out a great game and that they feel great about it and the community feedback makes them feel even better about it. Steve just needs to keep growing and speeding up. Yeah, I think that's the name of the game. If you got 70 employees right now and his goal is to have 30 more great employees by the end of the year or the beginning of next year, I think that's good. Say you get to 150 total employees in 2 years, damn near doubled yourself. Hiring the quality people is, when I say quality people, I'm saying people that are going to contribute to what you're doing the best, in your opinion. That's what's going to make it go faster. And I think the sooner you get those people in, the better.
Cool. And obviously we put together a lot of the feedback reports, compiling that
That
from
will
our
help.
social media
Again,
to, our
I think it
forums,
would help,
every platform
but
that you
that's
guys have
also
ever
coming from
spoken
a
on,
guy that's never
as well as
developed a
even
video
like data
game,
that we pulled
knows
from
nothing
other
about it,
places.
Like I don't know
How
shit.
is design incorporating
All
those
I
as
can
they're
do is
going through these design docs that you guys are talking about for
be
these
some
pitches?
gamer coming
Yeah,
up with
generally,
ideas,
so the first thing that we do is obviously we get an assessment of the original doc and the system and its components, and then in the pitch phase, when we're taking into account observations and or feedback from the community, we are citing essentially topic discussions and community sentiment across different social mediums, whether it be our forums or Reddit that you guys have provided as part of your summary from the
Twitter,
community,
Facebook,
right? Twitter, for everywhere, right?
everything.
Yeah, and when we have discussions as the design team on how we want to move forward with either changes, adaptations to particular things, we are referencing community sentiment. How does that sentiment stay in line with what our core philosophies are, right? Our core pillars. Now, a lot of people have said we got to be careful. You can't listen to obviously everything that the community says because
agreed.
there is differing opinions out there, and I think that's not lost on us. Like, we're not looking to fundamentally change the identity of Ashes of Creation through community feedback. I think we've kind of laid out what those pillars are. We have gotten buy-on from the community with regards to does that resonate with you guys, and then now we look to increase essentially the positive reception on these core pillars without changing fundamentally the idea or the design of the game, so to
it's
speak.
like this is what we're
Bye.
creating and the
Peace out,
product that we're creating.
Parallax.
But if we can resolve some of these problems and these issues that you all are worried about or encounter,
That that kind of solidifies everything we just kind of talked about too. He says, we're listening to it, we're taking the positive and the negatives, reflecting on it, and then we're moving forward. And he said it in past dev discussions. Ashes of Creation isn't going to be for everybody, and that's okay. He's not making it for. Now, who he's making it for is kind of hard to say, but you could go back and forth all day long, say who he's making it for. Casuals, hardcores, it don't matter. All right, Under Oath, we'll catch you later, man.
encountering with the design that we have and still keeping to what we're trying to achieve, I think that's totally, obviously
For sure.
we would want 100% to do that. Cool. You talked a little bit already about what the design team is doing, but in regards to the engineering team, obviously, until they get those design docs to be able to start, going deep into those systems, what are they doing in the interim?
In the interim, I'm sorry, say it one last one time. I had an emergency text. Say
It's
the
okay.
question one more time.
You talked a lot about, or quite a bit about what the design team is doing specifically. But obviously the engineering
not
team
you.
is kind of waiting a little bit on some of those design docs. What are they doing in the interim whilst they
Absolutely.
wait for those?
Well, there's no
waiting, I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I forget, man.
say.
Everybody is your bro.
So they have their tasks for
I know
Alpha
what
2
you meant,
as
man.
well, and that relates kind of to the outstanding feature work that's
Now I
required
understand.
and present still for the systems that we'll be bringing online in Alpha 2, right? So as we've said in Alpha 1, and what a lot of people saw as you were watching Alpha 1, those are core systems. Those are the core functionality of those systems. But there's additionally outside of that core functionality, there's obviously bells and whistles. There's expanded functionality that we want to have present. There's optimization work that needs to be done. There's some tech debt that gets accrued as part of any milestone, right? You kind of for those of you guys who may not understand like tech debt as a reference, but essentially as you're working towards a particular milestone, obviously you have the best of intentions with regards to doing things the right way as you're moving through, but sometimes as time dwindles away and you're getting up across the deadline, certain things require a little bit more work than you have time to do, and that's when we do in kind of stopgap measures and kind of shortcuts on some of those things, which
See,
is
I like
okay
hearing
to have
that
a little bit of tech debt.
that he's got all of this.
And part of that process is
He tells you what the
identifying what those
problems are and
to-do
how they try to
tasks
fix
are
it.
in part of the code base, going back, taking out what was put in temporarily, and implementing the correct process as well. So that's a little bit of what engineering is doing as well. But they're also participating in the retrospective and also identifying some of the core features and what technical implementation was utilized in order to present
The comic
those core
strip, you're
features
talking
and
about
how
the
we
Fan
should
Friday
pivot
stuff?
some of those things. Obviously it's not as going excuse me, it's not going to be sorry about that.
Okay.
It's not going to be as intensive as actually writing the system over again or having to reauthor it, obviously, but it is identifying where certain areas can be changed as part of writing a particular mechanic and how that interacts even with other mechanics as well.
He doesn't have COVID, you guys. He's just
No, I'm
Steven
fine.
has had a cough
I'm sorry.
forever.
COVID.
Like,
Yeah.
you just kind of have that, right? Like,
Wow.
Sometimes I just talk too much, honestly. I think it's just a dry. I
Dude,
just
that
get a
guy
dry
talks
throat,
like
and
a
the more I like
bajillion.
talking, the worse it gets.
and yes, it's not wine in
Bajillion
his
miles
glass,
an
it's
hour.
water.
Yes, the water helps.
You always drink it out of like
My
what looks
throat
like a
would be
wine
dry
glass.
too
And
if
people are
I
like, "Is he
pounded
drinking
out
Goblet.
4,000 words in 2
Goblet.
seconds.
He's just fancy AF, okay.
Fancy schmancy.
In regards to engineering, they also were working a little
You've
bit
seen a
more
few
on
comics?
some
I
of the
haven't.
things for security that came up, and obviously
Correct.
some things that we're looking forward to doing in Alpha 2. Do you
Where'd
want
you
to
see
talk a
those
little
at?
bit about that as well?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so for Alpha 1, and those of you guys who kind of observed, we actually had a relatively stable environment for Alpha 1. I mean, there were a few times where we had to bring up the servers, back up again, and there were some security attacks that we had to address.
Speaking of those security attacks, what do you guys think about that? When they had people come in and DDoS and all of the servers during the alpha testing. Before I sway minds with my opinion, I want to hear what you guys have to say about that.
address. It wasn't really our primary focus, at least on the ancillary security components of the game. Obviously, in the game code itself, there was a focus on making sure that things were secure there, but like login and authentication and DDoS protections and DOS protections, like that wasn't really at the forefront of our mind for Alpha 1, which is fine because when they came up during Alpha 1, I was actually very impressed with our team's responsiveness and the ability to deploy countermeasures as part of that process. And I don't hold anything against, people who come and probe, the security protections. Like, in a way, that actually helps. I mean, I would prefer they come to us and tell us directly. But in a way, it helps our investigative process. It helps the way that we're able to deploy hot
Ashley,
fixes.
thanks for the follow.
Those are the things that we want to get out of the way
Really
in
appreciate
Alpha 1. And, I know at the end of the day, even if malicious actors are targeting us, it's like, they're targeting us because they want to play a great game, hopefully.
Ideally.
Missed the question. Question is what do you guys think about the Alpha 1 cyber attacks that they had where people were basically DDoSing all of their servers, making the servers really unstable, getting people kicked off during the alpha testing? It was happening on all of them, if not most of their servers, through the last week of their server testing, like he was just talking about. What do you guys think about that? What's your opinion?
If you encounter an
Ideally.
exploit or a bug or something security oriented, we
Yes.
would prefer you reach out to us privately. You can DM me
Agreed.
or Toast or Wagner
Or me.
or Steven. Steven, you have a
Doesn't
lot
get
of
lost.
DMs,
I know.
so
It doesn't get
you
lost in
might
the
get
DM.
lost. But if you DM one of the community team members, like the community managers or me, we will get on it right away. Like those things are things that we're working with engineering on all the time. And we have had people reach out to us in the past in regards to those type of things.
I like somebody said hacked out of love, copium. Okay, maybe a little bit of copium, but regardless, it was great to see the team's response to that because we had issues.
I felt so
Yeah,
bad.
you
I'd be,
gotta
calling
do the
somebody
best
up
you
at
can
3
do.
a.m.
What are you gonna do
I know.
when that
I know.
happens? You
But
just gotta go with it.
I thought we performed very
I
well.
thought they
And
did
so
good.
with that regard, going forward, obviously Alpha 2 is where we're going to employ more stringent security measures, especially around those ancillary systems and as part of the game code even further. Because, from our perspective, obviously MMORPGs, when you have a large amount of players that are participating across many different systems and in a single environment, there's always going to be opportunities for certain individuals to do things that are a little bit unsavory. In that regard, that's going to be a focus for us going forward to Alpha 2.
All right. Speaking of Alpha 2, I know that people are wanting a date. We don't have a date for you, so we will not be announcing that on this stream.
Where do you go
No
when you
date.
drop into Pluto TV?
That's not surprising.
To a place far, far away from other TV. Where the TV flows like it's free. Because it is.
Really, I didn't hear that. I think that different groups from different MMOs have toxic opinions so much that they are driven to come over the game they dislike and cause issues.
Pluto TV.
I don't even know if it was that. Like, I mean, who knows where they were from, I think people just do it to do it, but it's just like, that's so toxic, Like, my opinion on that is, it's just unneeded. What would drive a person to go and try and hack servers and DDoS a bunch of people off of content other than to be just an asshole, There's nothing good I can say about that, and like, these guys are really super nice about it. It's like, they wrecked a weak testing environment with server issues constantly. So how would you know that those server issues were actually your servers causing the problems or the people trying to hack your servers, So where do you start from that? Sure, they've got a better idea, but I don't know. Then you look at Steven's point, like, hey, it gives us an opportunity to try and fix these problems. Yeah, I get that, but even still, just kind of load of BS.
No, but obviously right now our main thing is kind of going through making sure that we have all the systems in, ready, or getting those things ready and prepared, and figuring out time frames that those things are going to take, tasks, things like that. So it's going to be a little while. But we will let you guys know when we are ready to let you know when Alpha 2 is coming. In regards to Alpha 2, can we talk a little bit about what the users can expect in Alpha 2? I know you won't be able to go through everything.
Can't see people who
'cause it's a
strongly
lot,
care for a game to
but
do
Yeah.
that.
the
Yeah, no,
highlights
I don't
maybe.
see that either. I don't think that
Yeah,
would be the case.
honestly, Alpha
Otherwise,
2
they'd be talking
is
to him,
really
being like,
taking
"Hey,
Alpha 1 and
let
fleshing
me
out
taste your
all of those
cybersecurity," you
systems
know.
much, much further,
And then
right?
he'd probably be game
Um,
for it, and they wouldn't do it
so
during
one of the
testing
main things is
phases,
going to be
you know.
obviously node progression outside of just stage 3, perhaps up to city, if not metropolis stage for Alpha 2. Another component is going to be drastically increasing the world size, and that incorporates obviously a significant amount of other work, such as all the quest lines, the level of progression, incorporating secondary archetype choices, having augment capabilities as part of the combat system and the skill trees, incorporating the weapon skill trees as part of that, having a vast array of diverse creatures to select from, having some more of the spawner influence and changes that get adjusted in the world based on node progression, incorporating more of the parent vassal system and how nodes interact with each other, expanding out the guild skill trees, really doing a significant revamp on gathering and the way that we're actually going to start demonstrating the real gathering systems, the itemization and crafting components, just general artisanship tree. Those are big portions of what needs to be done, but also dialing in on things like diminishing returns and the way that buffs get applied and or debuffs get applied, the types of
Man, he's racking off a lot of stuff, and that's just going to show like how little they actually had in the Alpha 1 and how much they're adding to it as they're going until they get to Alpha 2. That's probably not even all of it. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of important stuff. That's a lot of their vision. And if that stuff's not in there, they can't really. There's a lot of systems that are based off of their other systems. And you got to get the first one right before you get the second one right, you know?
the types of status effects and status conditions and how they're represented to the players. There's a lot of stuff that goes into moving from Alpha 1 to
Maybe
Alpha
it'll
2.
turn out for the
And
good. Steven will
just to
figure out
make
some new
sure,
methods to
you
take care of the
guys,
problem.
as you're
Oh,
viewing
most
and you're tuning
definitely.
in, and this gets
They won't
viewed
let
on
that
YouTube
happen.
or the VOD later, there's a lot of work that's necessary for Alpha 2. And with that regard, of course, we're going to be keeping you up to date, and Margaret and her team are going to be keeping everybody up to date and interfacing with you guys as we move forward. But from a amount of work standpoint, there's going to be some time here where there's a little bit of downtime. We had a lot of kind of showing of what's happening behind the scenes and Alpha 1 itself, and was no NDA attached to that, and you got to see players in the world, and that's all great. But now we really need to heads down focus on Alpha 2. We have a lot of work ahead of us. All the teams have a lot of work ahead of us, and there's going to be some down period between Alpha 1 and
Man,
Alpha
we've
2.
gotten
There'll still
like
be some
3
spot tests.
bots
We'll
in the
still
stream
invite some
so
of the
far
testers
tonight.
from
What's
Alpha
up
1
with
back
this?
to participate as part of those spot tests become necessary,
Jesus.
dictated by our developers. But there's going to be some patience to be had, and as we spend the time that's necessary to make sure we're getting things right and are incorporating the right feedback that we received during Alpha 1 and stuff.
Yeah, we just really want to set expectations. And when we are ready to tell you the Alpha 2 date, we will. But in the interim, we will be continuing to do our monthly updates. You guys will get to see the progress. I think, I'm even looking back and seeing a lot of what you guys say already is like, you've watched the journey, and it's been pretty cool to see that. It's gonna be even crazier because we're gonna have some really cool stuff come online, and so you're still gonna see those systems as they come online and piece by piece, and of course new art and like just basically everything from our teams. I think you'll actually see more stuff from design, especially as we move forward, because now Alpha 2 is really where a lot of those other systems are going to be starting to come online that we're very much in engineering's field, and so we can't really show you what engineering is doing. Although McP has offered to show me code, I was like, probably shouldn't show that on the stream. But yeah, we do have lots of cool things for you guys planned. A lot of Dev Diary stuff will be coming back online once the studio's ready and Steven approves that I can start recording in there. And yeah, we just got a lot of cool things planned. So even in the interim, we will continue to share updates with you all, and even some more behind the scenes stuff once the office is ready for that. So with that, I think we're ready to move on to environment if you are.
I am ready.
That all sounds great. Got it seemed like Steven said he's got the pillars laid out, listening to feedback. We're moving in the direction we want. Working on the bugs for A1. Already developing A2 stuff. And we just got to keep moving in that same direction. Take looks at the gaps and times that we have and make sure that we're making stuff on time. That's what you like to hear, because that goes to show that he's looking at every aspect of it, trying to move along at a quality pace, not trying to speed it. He's just trying to get it done times that they set for themselves. And if you're hitting your goals, that's great. You don't need to hit the community's goals. His goals are probably more realistic than anything we could set,
Okay. The first thing we want to discuss actually in regards to the environment update is that they are currently working on terrain and node R&D. Before I even show you guys some of the art stuff that they've got for me to showcase, do you want to talk a little bit about what that research and development is, and how that's going to be incorporated into the game?
The R&D for, I'm sorry, you cut out for me.
Terrain and node.
Oh, terrain and node. Yeah, absolutely. So, as you guys saw in Alpha 1, the nodes weren't super visually aesthetic, right? They were functional. They
Yeah, I
had
noticed
the
that, but
buildings placement.
it's
They
Alpha
had
1,
NPCs
you
that
know?
spawned. They would grow in size. The territory of collection for experience would change. The base functionality of the platform technology and how they're procedurally generated, that was functioning as well. But from a terrain perspective, essentially the plug of terrain and how the terrain changes when a node advances, making sure that it's seamless at level 0, making sure that it has, foliage that's properly placed, and when you get into the layout, having some height changes, having different materials for the roads,
Yeah.
and just
Oh,
kind of
that's kind of
spending time
crazy
on
how many
prettying up the
people just
nodes.
go like, oh, it looks
Part
so
of the R&D
terrible.
component
Oh,
is obviously going to
why
be
does it look like
examining
that?
how
It's like,
much we can change the
it's Alpha
terrain
1 guy.
and
They're
make it
working on it, man.
very seamless when it's set in the world for
It's
the node
aggravating
itself,
when people come
but
in and they just
also
start talking like that on their
extrapolating out
forums and
from just
just
stage
dissing the
3
whole
into
game. And it's
stage
like, have
4,
you
into a town, into
done any research? Do you know
a
what an
city, and
alpha
eventually a
is?
metropolis. A lot of R&D is going to be placed in not just
Some
how
people's
we
kids.
achieve those larger footprints of the node itself, but the location and placement and what parameters design has to set as part of the platform tech for particular buildings.
Speaking of design,
Specifically,
I saw a prototype that one of them did, and that was pretty cool. They were like prototyping
oh,
some
you
of the
mean
node stuff.
Bucky Collins did a
Amazing.
great job using very I think he was using Java to create this
Thought it looked lower
this
quality,
so on the world map of Vera, right, he has these
but I
locations
understand what
set
an
for
alpha is.
every single of the
Yeah.
103 node locations. And then he's
Like you go back to what we
incorporated
talked about earlier too.
a point
You're talking
system to
first
determine
pass
the
almost.
value of
It's like
each
they just drew it and
essentially
slapped it in the
district, of
game,
each parent
So like
node
I can
as it
understand it.
absorbs other nodes. And through that kind of we can run simulations over and over and over and over again to play out the way that nodes are going to
And then on that comment too of when you watch somebody stream Ashes, because I'm assuming you didn't have the Alpha 1 key, I don't think you did. Watch that. They gotta stream that, and then if it's at 1080p, you're only seeing it at 1080p of what they're streaming. So it's not even looking as good as what's on their screen at most times. Sometimes they stream it at 720p. It's such a hard game to stream, so we don't really get a good perspective on it.
to move. Like, for example, one of, well, I guess I really shouldn't give that information, but this stuff in the back end, which is predetermines essentially how nodes progress from a territory standpoint. That's a very important component. But from the environment side, on the R&D stuff, that's really going to be like, how can we make sure that node placements are equitable when it comes to sieging and defenses of those particular nodes, the types of number of gates you have.
See, that would be really, really important what you're just talking about right there. You get a node down in a valley, somebody can just set up trebuchets all around you and start raining down on you. That's like, why would you want to live there? That's good that they're thinking about that. I'm sure there's going to be benefits and negatives for each one, but they don't want it to be like way on one side or the other, Otherwise, everybody's going to fight for one thing.
Have to make it through in order to reach the town center. Not having too much terrain around a node that just makes it.
It always
so
looks really
easy,
good
like
on Steve's
if a node's
screen.
in a basin and like you can
Yeah.
have trebuchets on the top of
I think
the
he goes
terrain,
4K
like,
streaming.
raining down fire out of the range or fire
This
from
1080
attack
Ti.
back from the node itself. Like that's part of the R&D, the research and development aspect of determining the right type of layouts that need to be preset from a parameter standpoint as part of this procedural generation, because we also want nodes to look very different. We don't want nodes to look the same, right? So
Oh, we
for
do
Alpha
not.
1, it was just about standing up the tech, making sure the tech is working correctly, that we're collecting the experience, that we're surfacing the stuff to the player. And now, as we move towards Alpha 2, we really need to dial in on the R&D aspect of, okay, we need to define these parameters accurately. We need to theory craft out each of these parameters and each of these node locations as they progress. What impact is that going to have on things like sieges? What impact is it going to have on things like, having those buildings and NPCs present, and what number of available plots are possible at a maximum stage node? So there's just a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can ramble, so just cut me off when I'm talking.
No, you're good. You're good. All right, I'm
Yes,
gonna
he
swap
can.
over and I'm gonna show you guys some concept art. So first
Oh,
thing I have
nice.
here is the volcano landscape that they're working on. I love seeing the concept art because
Hey guys, it's Billy. I am here to let you know that the Billy
These
Eilish
ads
takeover
always
is
scare the
live,
crap out of me.
only on Amazon Music. It features my music and songs from other artists that I love.
Underrealm will be really
And some
interesting.
stories about my music.
I think so.
Tune in for an experience that I created just for you, and I will see you there.
Because that's where the Talnar are supposed to be, right?
Listen
Talnar
now
are
only
like
on
the
Amazon Music.
corrupted race. Because they've had a couple of like concept arts where they've had stuff in the underworld talking. But I like this lava place that they showed.
you guys have seen some of the concept art in the past of the different terrains, and then we show you the screenshot of in game, and it's like it looks exactly the same. It's so hard to tell sometimes because our artists are just so amazing. But can you talk a little bit about what this area is, other than obviously volcanic?
So this is lava, and you can tell it's lava because it's bright and glowing.
I like this like lava rainbow they got going on.
No, this is obviously there's
Steven likes a troll
It's like
it's
like an arch.
There's a wide array of different types of biomes that's present, and one of these components is obviously how do we portray landscapes that are not just beautiful but are also dangerous. And there's obviously environmental hazards and effects that can be part of these types of terrains, and we want to not just show always the prettiest side of Vera, but also show the more I don't want to say vulgar, but like the more antagonistic
Gritty,
aspects, the gritty dark. Yeah, exactly. So that includes stuff like corruption and how it kind of perverts.
You guys notice how these shields all got different designs on them? Do you think we'll be able to draw on the shields or change what's on the shields game? I think that'd be pretty. You can do that with the signs. So like, I'm in the guild Validus. Could I draw if I'm really super autistic? artistic. Sorry. Could I draw the guild crest or whatever on my shield?
The land, or these more kind of apocalyptic scenes where you have these, large flowing rivers of lava, emanating from a giant volcano, and because we're able to like significantly increase the draw call distance that you can see the world around you, it's cool because you may see this volcano from a 30-minute distance trek across the realm, but once you reach it, not just because of the surrounding area that you see here that's concepted out, but that there is something deep in that volcano that's compelling. Like you want to go inside.
That's a genius
Lava
idea.
features.
Sounds
Yes,
perfect for
exactly,
you, Oath.
right?
Also, in one
Running
of
the
the
tank
concept
with the
art,
crest
is
guild,
like a double
the
rainbow
guild
of lava.
crest. That'd be
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely. And I think the great thing about these types of concepts is they're not just identifying the specific biome, but they're incorporating the type of perspective you want to have with those long draw calls, right? With being able to see that mountain at a distance, or having the world lighting break through the clouds, that's present there. And I think that gives the environment team a good direction on, not encapsulating every trek across the world, because a lot of MMOs we've played, those zones are super encapsulated. Like, oh, I'm always blocked because there's some tall mountain that doesn't let me see beyond it, and it's like right next to me. Or
You know what game was really bad for what he just said? It was like Elder Scrolls Online. It was like you had to walk around these massive ass mountains just to get to where you want to go. It's this big body of water. Felt like there was only one direction to go to where you want to go sometimes. So I like that he's saying, it's more open. Even though that volcano's super far away, you can still walk to the.
or have a very curated path that I have to follow, and that can just be a super boring thing.
Yeah. If there's a waterfall, there better be something hidden behind it. No.
That's right.
And of course, Stephen talked a little bit about the different nodes. The first thing here I'm going to show you is actually a bunch of props for the Dunir. We're building out more things. So we have
The
this is
Dunir are
actually
the
a
dwarves,
fireplace. It's work in progress one. So maybe next month you'll get to see the final of it.
or one
We've been
variant of
showing
the
a lot of the
dwarves, I
different
should
stuff
say.
that's going to be in houses and in nodes. This is a podium that you'll probably see in a town. And then we also have some bridges. You can see a couple different variants of bridges here. And I think we have an image for scale in game with one of the bridges popped into the game.
It's a
Obviously, that's not where it's
pretty
going to be,
decent
but
sized bridge, I'd
they
say.
just popped it in there so you can see for scale.
Kind of
And these
clip
are
weird for the
important
video, but
because as nodes advance,
don't matter.
again, they don't just reflect changes within the node's footprint, but actually structures will form like harbors and bridges that help to provide trade related resources, more world development components, and these are the types of structures you're going to see develop alongside the nodes in the world.
And then we have signs, and then as well as a defensive barrier.
See, what he just talked about right there is, say you're out on the coast and you're level 1 node, right? As you level up, you could get a harbor for everybody's ships so that you can do trading off of the coast better. Otherwise, you just have everybody's ship out in the nowhere. There might be merchants out there, places for people to put stuff up to sell fish or gear or whatever. Something like that is really, really interesting to me, just because the place is only going to change and get better as more people are in that area leveling up. I think that's the node system is what makes this game great. It makes Ashes of Creation because of the node system. I think that's their most important thing they got. What race are you liking so far? I gotta see what the Tulnar is gonna look like. Like I got that, Umbral Yokai, a little bit of darkness kind of vibe. I'm kind of split between that and just a human, because I'm boring. We'll see if there's any like racial benefits that is gonna benefit my rogue style, but I'm not 100% sure so far. What are you gonna pick there, Oath?
One of the defensive barriers that they're working on. And then I will show you that, I think that's the back side of it. Because you'll be able to like set up defenses and stuff whenever your freehold is, or your node is attacked. Empyrean ones here are the next ones. So you can kind of see a very different version of these. So these are some of the fencing.
Empyrean, I believe that would be like an
Very pretty.
elvish type thing.
Very pretty.
Yeah, Empyrean
Maybe.
are like,
Empyrean,
their
she
art is
said?
so interesting because it's still very refined, but then it's got the elven look to it,
Yeah, elven.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Another fence. I believe this is a gate. Yeah, for the fence. So you could open it.
Yeah,
I like
looks
the
great.
elven
Environment
stuff
team
way
always does
better
such a
than
great job
Dwarf.
bringing to life these cultures. You know, it might not
It's
seem
a fountain.
much as you view individual like fences or fountains and these kind of props that are
Have
present
exact same
across the world,
opinion
but
as
when
you.
you start putting all of these things together
Yeah,
to
I'll
represent,
know when
you
I
know, an
get there,
entire
you know.
town, village, or whatever, you know, they do a great job.
So I'm not talking over them. That's why I'm excited for them to have their character creation launcher come out way before the launch. Like, say you even get a week to make your character, pick your race, and what your starting archetype's gonna be, and blah 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 blah. You get to sit there, you get to toy with it, make the colors match, get your hair right, you know, make the character look nice. That way, when launch comes out, you're not like, oh, I gotta bust through this real quick. I can't do the short characters. No, they just look terrible, and the armor typically, everything just looks weird. It just looks weird. So I agree. And then when you got a bunch of people in one area, you just feel like you get lost.
Making these things all exist in together and one another
cohesive,
doesn't cohesive, doesn't make it feel like it's standing out or apart or a sore thumb, so to speak.
Yeah, and then these are some of the lighting, like the sconces that go on the wall versus the ground, versus just general ones.
I wonder if they'll
that
ever,
you'll
like,
be seeing
when you
that
get to
will
a
help light up the
metropolis,
areas.
if
And then a weapon rack, because you
you
gotta
can
have weapon racks.
progress
I
your
think
metropolis to like a
that's all of the
hydroelectricity
Empyrean props.
plant
But yeah, they're
in
working
like a
on,
harbor, you know, so you can actually get light
fleshing out a
bulbs
lot
and
of
shit
those
like that.
things, creating more
And that'd be pretty cool.
pieces that are going to make the world feel a little bit more lively.
Like a place that's got
and
water
also some of the
around
things
it.
that you guys will be able to utilize in your freeholds, you know, like fencing for your stables and your creatures to
Right.
keep them in, you know. So like we need a lot of those pieces. So you're going to see a lot of like furniture pieces for all of.
They talk about the pieces like here, the section of a fence. Say, you know, this is your land you get to place these on. You get to place how you see. You build it like you're in Ark or Minecraft or something like that. That's what I'd like to know that. That's one of the things I hope when we get to Elva 2, like I'm interested in the housing stuff because it looks like it's gonna have good benefits to keep stuff in your called your homestead or whatever.
Of the different races coming in as you've seen each month progressively. Next up, we've got character art. I guess we'll start with this one. This is actually where I was going to leave off, but this is Paula's cat, which is just, oh my gosh, the coolest thing ever. I was actually going to end on this one, but
Oh, yeah.
I'll go backwards.
That's one funky looking cat.
Look at him or her. Is it a him or her?
I don't know.
Its paws are
Jincy will have
massive.
to let us know. This is a Jincy creation. It is.
So this is an
awesome.
in-game
Looks like a bobcat, though.
achievable mount. Is that correct?
Correct. This is not a cosmetic one.
So this is not cosmetic. This is achievable in-game. Now I'm pretty sure that this particular mount is probably going to be achieved through some of the animal husbandry system. And that's likely going to be through the crossbreeding of a normal domesticated house cat and a bear, a wild bear.
Oh my God.
I
I'm
agree
just-
with that statement. Oh, it definitely do.
I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm
I'm just
joking.
imagining a house cat and a bear, and I'm like, Steven, how? What?
I'm just joking.
People in
But-
chat were saying it should be making the same sounds that my cat was
Is
making.
that, yeah, I was gonna say, is that why the cat's making those noises? No, I'm just kidding.
I can
So
record
no.
some audio for you. You can use it.
Jeez.
Perfect. Just have that playing
think
on
that-
the
I think that'd
freehold
be a
as,
little
like, the
much for the
sounds when you're
animal
trying to
husbandry.
make- That would be so good.
Oh my
No,
God.
but this is an in-game achievable. It will be derived through some method of exploring the animal husbandry system.
And then you can see it with the mount and the armor as well versus alone by itself. Next up, I'm going to go backwards.
I actually like
There
it
we
without
go.
the armor
We've
better.
got the Black
Ooh,
Sight
that's pretty cool.
Watcher. So this is a cosmetic one. This is from a Halloween set previously. I helped design. It's got like 6 eyes. It's very cool. And it's based off of some of the ravens that were created. So we built out some ravens. I love the like albino vibe.
So this is
raven.
gonna be
It
a
needs red eye.
combat pet then? I would
the
assume.
Graven.
The Graven.
The gray raven.
Oh, I love it. Maybe we make a really really pale one that has
Oh,
got
yeah.
red eye for the. Yeah, ooh, I
Cool.
like the Graven idea. And then we have the Carmine Chameleon. Looks so cute. This turned out so good. This is part of the Valentine's Day.
Gotta say, some of the creative team goes a little too. Guess maybe some people. What do you mean it goes too far? Is it far as in what?
Set. Very neat.
Now, that's a pet.
It is
Or
a
mount.
mount.
Oh my gosh.
It's just a
Yeah.
mount.
That, I mean, if you didn't have a saddle, that would be really uncomfortable.
We could make him a mount.
I'd agree the Raven does look
Could
really
make,
cool.
No,
like, a little
I'm just
baby
saying,
version.
like, if you were riding that thing without a saddle, like
Oh, it
that,
would hurt.
oh, that crystal wasn't meant to be there. You know what I mean? Like, that would be unfortunate.
Don't bear back the Carmine Chameleon.
Oh no.
But
Oh,
yeah,
the
these
cat
are
going too
meant
far?
To be my thought.
Yeah, I don't know. That cat was like hyper realistic, but it had kind of a funky look. But you know, when it's your job to make this cat look great, hey, we're throwing a video game. Suppose you're gonna take it to the limit, you know? And it's probably gonna get dumbed down when it gets put in through the Unreal 5 engine, so maybe it doesn't, I have no idea. Better to go far over than not enough, I guess.
Process is that I would love to have these
I'd
be,
agree
like,
with that.
in like a cavern, and then like you don't realize that it's a creature, and you go to like mine it, and then it like comes out and attacks you. That's what I
Oh,
was
yeah.
thinking. Yeah.
So that would
And
be
what if
pretty
he
cool.
just like poops crystals and you can like harvest it?
Oh, that'd be
Oh
lovely.
yeah, like that's one of his actions, like his top tier action.
That'd
is
be
just
pay
like
to win, Steven.
24. Well, oh, that's true. No, it'd have to be part of the base value.
Yeah, the base creature.
yeah.
We could make a base creature that is a
That poops resources.
Yeah.
Oops. The cat
I'm
was
just
not
kidding.
my style.
I mean, it's probably gonna happen. It's fine.
Not a cat guy, you're a
The
dog
next
guy?
thing we have here.
Turn it. No, I definitely wouldn't be rocking a cat mount either. Like a tiger or a leopard mount, I'd be cool with that though. But that house cat looking thing, that's a little much for me, you know? What do you think about that lizard thing with the crystals on its back? Like the lizard and the crow, yeah. I don't think the crow is a mount though. I think that's gonna be a combat companion or pet or something that you take with you. I don't know how. I mean, you would have to scale that up way larger than what they're. Guess you could make.
Greaves of Pride, so you can kind of see the final version, and then we'll also show you kind of the work in progress and how these work. So sometimes you get to see the gray.
Man, it's just crazy
scale
how they take that
versions
gray
of each
scale
of
and they
these
make it
things,
look.
like you did with the fireplace. But this
Looks
is one where you get
fantastic.
to kind of see the whole process of it, which is
I
really
love
cool.
I love the detail.
Like it's got
And
that
I would
bronze and it's
say
got the
that,
scratches and everything on
partly,
it.
Obviously, outside of the fact that we have very talented artists, but partly the reason for these types of detail on the armor sets and the weapons is that as part of our home system, you'll be able to have certain types of furnitures that allow you to place armor sets as display. and
Ooh, I
having
like
those
that.
armors be intricately detailed like this one, I think is going to be a really cool added bonus to how each of the players customizes their homes and stuff.
Oh yeah, like housing decor. People love to have the models of the items put in their house. I've seen people do that kind of
Absolutely.
stuff all the
Yeah, I'd
time,
like
or
to
have
do
like a
that.
room, like a dressing room with like a bunch of mannequins lined up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with all like the armor that you're really proud of from raiding
I'd
and
have all
stuff.
kinds of that in mind.
But yeah, this is really cool. I'm still in shock of how amazing our artists are. Like it looks like the concept. It's crazy. Next up, we've got the Fuming Tincture, which you can see this work in progress. So this is actually a cosmetic accessory item that goes onto like a bottle on your belt, or that goes on a bottle that's on your backpack that dangles from it. So you can actually swap those things out and make like different looks and vibes. And
Yeah, wherever this sucker's at, I need it. I'm getting that. That's that's badass.
this is
That's gonna look.
from
Yeah.
the Halloween set a few years
Very
ago.
That's
cool.
probably not even the only one they're gonna have.
the
You know,
70s
they're gonna have
Yay.
lots of
The
customization.
next thing is the Coil of Crackling Skies. This is actually part of the set with the Thundering Bolt Beast. This is one of the rings that you could get to see. And yes,
Oh,
you
that's a
will
pretty
have
cool
rings
looking
in
ring.
game and necklaces
Look
and
at
earrings.
that. Oh my gosh, I love that. Looks
Turned
great.
out really great. I want to see how like rings like reflect. You know how they're like shiny. with the
Yeah,
lighting?
I'd love to have like jewelry boxes as part of like furniture as well, and like
Oh,
let you put jewelry in the box.
You can propose to somebody with a little jewelry
Ah,
box.
that'd be so cool.
Because we are gonna have weddings. Oh, I'm so excited.
That
I'm
would
so
be kind of cool.
excited for like just
The little
community
stuff is what
like that.
makes
art
everybody
people. Oh,
enjoy
yeah.
this stuff.
We will
you know?
definitely
Just that little stuff.
100% have to have like a Varen interior decorating show series on.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I
easily.
agree.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
And you
we will
know
make
what?
that
The
happen,
blue
'cause
on
I
that
love
ring,
that
you'd
I'm
idea.
probably
sure there's
be
going to
able
be
to
like
see that on your
also,
hands
Varen
if you zoomed
companies
in
out
close enough.
in the game world that sell their
Yeah.
in-house decor services,
Well,
and
they'd have
like
to be
you
able
can
to
add
edit.
them to your family and then give the permission to deploy based on that, right?
Okay.
For the property or
I think
whatever,
in the
and then
past you had said that we wouldn't provide permissions like that for somebody
did
else to
I?
come in and like change stuff
Oh,
like
pick
that.
up, yeah, they can
Yeah.
access like inventories and stuff, but yeah,
Maybe
that's
that's something we
true.
have to talk about, because in the
Yeah.
past at other
Belt
places
items?
that I
Yeah,
have
no, the belts would work.
worked as well, we've allowed people to do that,
If you
and
could
it's
get
been pretty cool.
that
You can like hire
ring
somebody
Yeah.
to like help
as like a
interior
belt,
decorate,
like
because
if you
people
just
would like
change that to a
make
belt,
a
I
hot
think that would
tub
look
out of
cool.
like crazy weird stuff.
I really like the blue. I think that really pops out. I think that'd look really nice on as a belt on a set. What do you think of weddings for the games? Gonna get hitched?
Like putting them together, it was madness.
true.
I mean, if there's a benefit to it,
We should
maybe
let. I like somebody said.
you can have first dibs. So
ASC said, "How about cleaning
otherwise,
them? We
I'm
should
not
have
really worried
houses
about it. You
get
know,
dirty over time, and like if you
it
don't
doesn't
clean
bother
them,
me.
like you take a
But like, I know there's a lot more people that do like actual like playing aspect of the game. There's a lot of people that would enjoy. Parallax and Uday are getting married. How did I know Uday was already taken?
Little roaches and stuff.
yeah, you get like a negative on like the house
Parallax
decor
better put a ring on it, you know?
functionalities, and you could hire cleaning services. I'm totally
Design,
kidding.
good luck, and
I'm
artists,
just-
good luck with that. But some games do that. Like Animal Crossing has it. If you don't come back for a while, there's like little bugs and you have to go stomp on
Right.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just
It doesn't have to be too crazy. You could have it be simple.
You got to make your bed in the morning.
Yeah, they're talking about
That would be funny.
you
We're
know
going into
bugs like
Sims
Animal
now,
Crossing
which
and
I
all
love,
that
so.
stuff. I personally wouldn't
this
enjoy
is the
anything like that,
Lorica
but I'm sure
Vindicta
somebody
set,
that does a lot of stuff with it
which
instead
was
would
our March
probably
set
find
for
that
this year.
you know
Cosmetic set.
something to do daily
Really cool.
or every once in a while.
And we have a turntable.
Yeah,
of
that
it.
looks great.
What do you think of that armor?
Sparta.
That looks pretty cool.
I was going for kind
Sparta.
of that,
No chest plate. That'd be
March
Sparta.
Ives
Maybe.
vibe,
Oh, the Ides of March.
Yeah, Ides of March.
If I was a
This
tank,
is
I'd rock
Vera.
that armor.
This is Vera.
It's not so much Spartan per se, but
True. They would have to have no chest plate if it was Spartan.
yeah.
Jeez. Now he caught himself.
just kidding.
There'd be no breastplate there.
Sandals. Nice sandals. Yeah, of course. Steven, we'll have to get Steven a pair of these sandals.
Oh yeah. Actually, I'm not allowed to wear sandals anymore.
I know.
It's very sad.
How can you be Sandalord without wearing sandals?
That's your style? I built a tank, that'd be my style too, man.
Alright. Well,
It looks pretty
next up
nice.
we have Threads of Fate, which looks amazing.
Wow, that looks cool.
Bless you.
If you're a necromancer,
Don't
that's
hit me
like a
back
must-have right there.
Bless you.
My allergies are going crazy, so that's why I'm keep coughing and sneezing.
That's
Yeah,
one of
Eli
the
did
coolest
this
sets
set,
I've
I
seen.
believe.
And he even made the weapons, which
Yeah,
aren't part of
looks great.
the cosmetic that you get.
We'll find somewhere to put them.
But we will find somewhere to use them. And we have a turntable of this as
That's really
well,
cool.
so you can kind of
Well, look
see that.
at how the signs
Oh,
on the
I
back
love it.
shimmer,
It looks
change
so
with the light
good.
as they turn.
Great job, Eli. Looks very good.
That's cool.
We did a little zoom in.
If I could change
Yeah,
the
we got really
headdress,
high
Oh,
quality,
nice. Got a little
size
zoom
I'd
in
use
for
that
it.
for a rogue. I'd use that
Oh,
We
set.
got really
I
high
like the
quality assets
skulls
for
and
this, so thank you for.
body armor
I
looks
always
lighter
love when
style.
artists send us the high quality stuff because we can do more fun with it.
The
Nice
headdress is the
ideas.
only thing I
Guys
wouldn't
on,
be like
top of a ziggurat
super keen about.
and like have the instead of the light in the hand, just like a pulsating heart, and they're just like eating it.
Imagine that with like some
Yeah, that'd
gold
be
cool.
daggers.
I'm sure the design team is going to find some fun places to put these.
Perfect.
But yeah,
Tricks
just
are
so you
real.
guys know, all of the creatures and NPCs that we create for these monthly cosmetics, you are helping us develop the world. These are going to be in the game as
Yes.
NPCs, as creature variants, etc. I mean, you probably already have seen them through Alpha 1. But yeah, you're helping us really like build it out. Next up, we've got Dunier plate set. There's 2 different versions of this. So this is the first one.
And this one's in-game achievable, yes?
Yes, correct.
Like that
And
you
get
do
to see the
white as an
progression
in-game
path
color.
Oh,
It's great, I
of the
think.
armor set as well.
All of
No
their
horns
armor
on
sets
that
have
one.
looked great, I thought.
This one has
And
like a
even
little
this trash
mohawk.
dwarven stuff. I'm
Yep,
pretty
so just
biased
again to
against
give you
dwarven stuff,
context
but
and
this is probably the best
comparison,
dwarven armor I've seen.
between armor sets that are achievable in game and the cosmetic skins that people can purchase. Obviously, again, our primary objective is that we keep those equitable, that you are not, a lot of games probably many of us have played, you're forced to consider the purchase of cosmetic sets if you want to look good at all. That will not be the case in Ashes.
That I
There
am
is both
happy
a
about.
path towards achieving really cool looking in-game items based on your efforts, and then also an alternative option in the cosmetic shop.
And of course, all of the
See, now I like that. You know, if you do this really high tier dungeon on server, there's probably, according to them, like there's a very, very, very small chance that any other server has that same dungeon as you, which means they don't have the same moves as you from that dungeon. Like there could be stuff from multiple things, but it says it's a dungeon specific chest piece. Like nobody else is gonna have that chest piece, and that's what's gonna make it unique. And since they're making all their stuff unique, like all looking good, you could get that stuff, or if say you can't do that content, you could get stuff from the cosmetic shop, or you could just rock with the regular gear that looks just as great. And I like that.
cosmetics, you have to own an item to put that item on.
Correct.
So you can't just like
No
immediately at
pay to
level
win here.
1 have the coolest armor. Cool. All right.
What is that? Have you seen that meme?
That's huge to make good in-game sets. Yes,
It's
definitely.
King Theoden and Gandalf's walking. He's like, "There's no pay to win here." Gandalf.
One game that I've
so
played that does that
pro.
really terribly.
And it's like,
Yeah.
I told
Does
you
never
to
winner.
take the wizard's credit card.
I think their end-game stuff looks terrible. It looks
Sorry.
bulkier as you get higher level.
All right.
Looks like everything's trying to be a tank.
So
Like
we've
their
got
lower stuff
questions
has
here from the
always looked
community,
better.
And if we don't answer your question here, definitely go check the
Yeah.
forums. Toast and Vacnar will be adding answers to your lovely questions over there after this. So even if you don't get answered here, you may get answered there, or they'll let you know if you should, put them in for next time. So half tilt gamer and Pickadoliver want to know about Alpha 1. What were some of the team's biggest takeaways from Alpha 1 testing? I mean, we talked a little bit about that.
That's a
but
good question.
Yeah, we did talk a little bit.
If you could pick one thing, what's your biggest, your like one thing that you think you took away from Alpha 1? Just one.
Just one.
Again,
Yeah.
this is something he can
Gosh.
answer. You gotta ask him stuff that they can answer.
Wow, that's super tough. There's so many, so many different things.
Maybe a
I guess
couple.
the biggest takeaway probably would be the direction of combat and the fluid nature we want to have between tab and action. The direction on the melee combat, the great amount of work that the new ability system team did, especially on the back end side of things. But the biggest takeaway I would say is that we're heading in the right direction. Now we just need to add some.
On combat, they changed from, like he was talking earlier, in a different dev update, changed it from where you would lunge forward as you were attacking to where you kind of just swing your sword and just still standing in one spot. And apparently back in like APOC, people hated that you could swing in one spot and they wanted it to be lunging. And we get to Alpha 1 and everybody's like, well, we hate that you're one. And then we wanted to stand in one spot. Some people are like, well, why the hell would you want to stand in one spot while you're swinging? What I would say to that is, off of one idea I can think of, say you're standing at a big boss and you're standing right next to it, your power's trying to lunge you with, you're gonna be moving around the boss and you're gonna be missing him. So that would be one aspect. And people saying, well, when I'm standing there, it feels like this and it feels like that. I don't think that's a good interpretation of what the game's trying to do. Like, you can't go, well, it just feels like it's swinging it too fast. Instead of saying that, say the attack speed on the sword is too quick, or the maneuverability of this great axe is too quick because I'm not moving. Give a why, and give why you're looking at it. You can't just say, I feel like the great axe doesn't do enough damage because it's not swinging fast enough. Like, that's not a question. That's an observation that they can't really play off of.
And continue down the path of that more free-form melee component and the really responsive, fast type of feedback from combat in the ability usage as well.
I think from my perspective, it's definitely the user flow process from downloading to patching and getting in the game client. I think we still have some improvements that we need to make in regards to that. And obviously internally, I think there's some live operations communications that we need to work out and get those kinks set up. But I think those to me would be big takeaways from the perspective of like what we were trying to test in this Alpha 1.
And that's just like what I'm trying to do right here on the streams right now. You're trying to learn how to do something you're trying to do. It takes time and it takes repetition. You learn by doing stuff. Talk about it and you can set up for it all you want, but until you do it, you don't know what problems you have. You try and set foresight on what's going to happen to you, but you don't really know what happened. So I think what she came up with her answer is perfect. Like, that's what I would take into consideration. That's what I would be looking at if I was those guys.
Feedback from Audenix wants to know, Audenix wants to know about feedback. I went dyslexic there for a moment. What is one thing you wish us testers and community members better understood about the development process in order to give more valuable feedback?
This is a super great question.
Can I answer this?
Kind of like what we just talked about.
I think for feedback, the best things that you can do are a brief sentence on what the issue is that you're encountering, repro steps on how to reproduce the counter, what results you had and then the expected results. I think that to me is the most confined way to provide like bug feedback. In regards to feedback, I think being concise and like giving us like what your problem is, and
Exactly.
then kind of what you expect to be happening
That's
versus
exactly what
what
it
you
should
think
be.
is actually happening. I think to me allows us to really understand like what you're trying to get to. Because for instance, I worked on a previous game where sometimes you find out that the issue that somebody has isn't the issue that they're saying. For instance, we had like a weapon and someone was like, oh, it feels like it's not doing as much damage as the other weapons. But then I went in and I looked at data and I was like, oh, they're doing exactly the same amount of DPS. So it's not
Exactly
a
like we
damage
just talked about.
problem on the data side. It's actually an animation problem that's making it feel like it's not doing as much damage. And all we did was alter the animation and everyone's like, oh, this change is so good, it does so much more damage. And we're like, it doesn't really do any more damage, it just feels better, because we understood like, oh, the problem is that people feel like it's not doing enough damage.
Perception's a crazy thing.
Yeah. This is a hard question to answer, just because what's to be expected with transparent development is that players won't know the difference on a lot of development related things. Of course, that's why, as you said, it's important to give good context behind any of the feedback, right?
Yeah.
Because then it allows the developers obviously to read into what you're saying specifically and know with their developer
because sometimes the issue you're encountering isn't actually happening.
Right.
So we'll go in and we'll test it, we're like, oh, that's
Sure.
not happening. And then if we don't have context, we're like, well, it's
Sure.
not broken. So
yeah, what I would say that's helpful to me, in addition to what you described, Margaret, is I think one of the things that's important about being a tester in an environment like Ashes, where you're fundamentally testing a true alpha system, is be willing to spend some time outside of gameplay to read through forums and what other testers have said and are saying as well, because that will better help contextualize your feedback also, and it'll give you insight to what others have been saying, maybe have you think a little bit differently about your experiences. I think that's an important thing.
I agree with it, what he just said right there. If you're trying to test the game, you should be in it. You're not playing the game, you're trying to test the game. You just happen to be, playing the game, quotation mark. But it's, when you're in there testing, you find something funky, you should be doing a bug report, no matter what. Like, that's what it's there for. But now, when you go on the forums, like he's saying, you can see where other people are having their problems. So say I know that hey, this area has a problem with flipping through the ground and your character can't get out of it, we'll avoid that area. Or hey, this quest isn't working. Don't start a new thread on the forum page saying, oh, this thread isn't working. He's saying, take some time before you start testing and see what's going on.
I also think one important thing, and it's not really something that testers or non-developer audiences can do per se, but I would say an important part is understanding the stage at which the development is supposed to be at. Meaning, for example, like when I say, hey, we don't have much of the UI implemented at all, a lot of this is placeholder, and then if a response or feedback is like, I hate this UI, well, if I read that and I'm thinking, yes, me too.
Exactly.
I hate the UI as well at this stage.
It's not even done.
It needs to be more functional, but that's something for a future testing period. So becoming familiar with what you're testing and why you're testing what you are testing, I would say that's important. But let me just say, with that question being answered,
just read, because we do provide you a list of what we are properly testing.
But with that question being answered, I will say our community has performed amazingly when it comes to feedback and when it comes to testing, because true testing is a difficult task. I mean, it is a very,
but the devs can understand what people need even if they don't describe it right. They're digging in. I would like to think they do.
You're not playing a game. And that's something that we've tried to say many times in the past about alphas. With
Hey,
least
you're not
with
playing.
regards
We
to
told people
Ashes.
don't buy unless
Right.
you want to help the development process, right?
Yeah, but I think
which is
we
really
s-
funny from a marketing perspective of being
Right.
like, don't buy this.
It is funny, but I think we saw super positive response from the community, regardless of that, right? And even amongst our testers. I mean,
Yeah.
we had great response from our testers, from our
Yeah, them saying don't buy the alpha key for $500 because you want to play the game is a really good thing for them to say, because all of the people that aren't listening to them and going in there expecting to play a full game are not getting what they thought they were going to go in and get. You know? If you're looking to play a game, wait until it releases, or lower your expectations and go for a beta key. But they're saying don't buy it if you're looking to play the game. Don't buy any of the packs. I agree, Steve is 100% in his game personally. No, definitely is. All of them are. You know, they have to be. Can't say you go in with community feedback and then not be in the community, you know? I think they're doing it right. I like it. I got nothing negative to say about what they've done so far. That's obviously I wasn't an Alpha 1, but I feel like they're doing really well with what they've done so far.
community. The feedback was, and even if the feedback is redundant or not necessarily applicable to the testing period itself, at least reading what the players are saying gives us confirmation that our intentions are down the right road of what players want to
Or
see.
don't buy something you
And
don't
that's always a
understand
good
or
thing as well.
research. Exactly.
We took a long answer for that.
I
so
agree.
sorry.
No, I think it's
Took a
great.
long
I
answer
think
for it,
both
but
of
it's
That was an
them are
important
important.
question because it references the community specifically.
Yeah, I know. I love that you were telling
Exactly.
people kind of like read up. I think a lot of the times, even on the community side, from our perspective, our community managers are basically like broken records. They get very used to answering the same question over and
Yeah.
over again. We do supply a lot of answers for you on our support site. Like literally, there's a KB articles for almost everything. The community has an amazing wiki with a lot of answers. Like if you just take a moment to do a little research on the question that you have, you might find the answer pretty quickly. Because everyone in
sure.
our community is just amazing. Otherwise, we are helpful. We will answer the question that we've answered a million times. Cronus wants to know about split body versus root motion. Based on recent feedback, what direction are you leaning towards in regards to split body versus root motion combat?
I think we're leaning towards split body. Well, I don't think we are leaning towards split body.
I like
I
that.
do think. I think very often.
What do you
and a
guys
lot,
think about the
sometimes too
combat?
much. But in this regard,
Like that split body, or do you want
He
the,
thinks a
the
lot
range of
and he makes
motion like
decisions.
sliding you forward while you're attacking?
George
Which one would you?
Black wants to know action versus tab targeting. Are you still considering whether the combined action / tab targeting combat will be replaced by either tab only or action only?
No, I think that we will find a healthy medium between the two. I think that really what it comes down to is the definition of action. And I think that there is a varying degree of opinions on what action targeting means, so to speak. But as I've clearly defined in the past, and as you can research on Wiki, our opinion on, at least my opinion on action combat, is, I think, well represented in the way we want to hybridize that combat in Ashes of Creation. And I think that there is going to be a good balance between those two, and it should be a seamless transition between the two as well. We're going to be fleshing that out further as we move forward.
And I'll answer this next one, which is from Pyrial / Pyrial.
You prefer
wanna know
action
about dwarves.
combat?
Will the
Both?
junior be seeing an update on their appearance? Yes. You all have sent us a lot of feedback.
Kind of like
We are
50-50
going to
on
be
them.
showcasing a lot of those
Like one
changes
out of
next
the
month,
other.
probably. I've been working with production to try to make sure that that kind of gets pushed a little bit forward so that we can at least show you guys some work in progress changes next month on our development update. So stay tuned. We heard
The only
you.
thing I hate is
A
like
lot of us love
combo-based
dwarves. We
combat.
agree. So you'll be seeing some
Yes.
changes coming
Like
along.
Blessed
I've been
Unleashed.
working with Ryan Richmond, who's our lead
Hated
concept
that.
artist, on some of those changes that we'll be making to the junior dwarfs to make them more traditional fantasy stout looking dwarves, right?
Thick boys.
Thick boys and girls. But yeah, that's I don't know if it'll make it by next month because there's some revisions that we're here now going back.
Yeah, I think
with,
we're
but it
going to
might be the
show
month
some
after.
work in progress. Not
Okay,
it won't
sure.
be final stuff. Obviously, it's going to take more than a month to finalize those bad boys because the base of the models that they create are going to affect
Yeah.
everything going forward.
And
especially with
the
character
dwarves that
create.
you saw in Alpha 1 actually will be more similar to the Nikua as well. So something to be said about that.
Ooh, nice. All right, and then we have from Sathrago wants to know about orcs. Will the more goblin-esque Vec be as short as dwarves or just slightly shorter than their Renkai brethren?
I'll do either one, but action feels life is all. I would say yeah, that feels more realistic. I would say depending on what kind of class you're playing, probably. Sorry, not class, archetype. Call it archetypes in this game. I think if you were using spells, maybe tab targeting. Action might not be bad. Really, it doesn't matter to me which one it is, but I know there's a lot of people. Like when I think of action combat, I think of like Black Desert.
No, I believe they are slightly shorter than the Veyloon, but slightly taller than the Dunir. So they're in between the two.
And Angelic Shia wants to know about stats. Are our stat points, strength, dex, int, granted statistically as we level based on our class, or can we reallocate them as we wish? Kind of.
Depression makes the week feel like 7 Mondays. Multiple symptoms?
What do you think about the? Man, I just lost my train of thought there. Were you here when they were talking about what to expect for like a dev discussion on guild members, both, and everybody in the chat really? I think we got a couple new people right now, but when you're talking about guild members, what do you expect from your guild members? I thought that was a good discussion point. I'll let you guys kind of go on that and this question is done and some of them.
Adjust them.
So as of right now, definitively, there is going to be a tattooed system, which will allow certain slots for you to apply stat migration. But it's a give and take relationship. There will be higher quality magical tattoos that can be applied to the character in order to
on the tattoos.
Adjust stats. But for the most part,
enchantment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, tattoo system. I think we've talked about that in the past too. So if some people are like, what? Yeah. So one up road wants to know about nodes. Will the type of nodes of each location be shuffled before launch so that beta testing doesn't reveal their secrets?
Unfortunately, no. Beta testing will require that the node types be definitive, and that's because of how node types are integrated into the relating and corresponding neighboring points of interest and those quest lines. So it's not something we can swap very easily.
They talk about not shuffling it. I don't think that'll be a big problem.
Wants to know about corruption. Will there be any large-scale consequences when many players in a group, guild, region, religion, etc., become corrupted frequently or for an extended period of time?
It's funny how all of these people ask all of these corruption questions. Like, they aren't trying to figure a way around the corruption systems so they can PK. It's like having that corruption system almost like brings out all the PKers, just like, get over yourself now. Not supposed to do it.
Good question, but no, there are not group dynamics or mechanics that revolve around mass murdering people in the world. The corruption system is intended to deter mass murdering, not to provide incentives by which players can go out and gain corruption. so that would be a little bit anti
I think they're wondering if there's going to be consequences, large scale consequences. So, for instance, I think the question is more along the lines of like, if my guild has no one corrupted and your guild is like 80% always killing people and always corrupted, will your guild have repercussions because they're corrupted versus my guild?
No, I don't think so either. And the reason why is, we want to deter it, but we don't want to make the system meaningless. And if the deterrent becomes too heavy-handed, then it's a system without a purpose. I think that
guess
the
I could
intent
agree
behind the
on that.
corruption is that, like, during a rise in passion and like anger and whatever, you want to make this decision and do something, and you'll suffer the repercussions later. But if those repercussions are just overwhelmingly bad and even antisocial in the sense that like your guild is like, hey man, you went corrupted and this gives us like corruption points on the guild and like, you're out of here, like then people just aren't going to choose to use it, and then at which point might as well just take it out. So I think there's a healthy balance between the type of deterrent used as keeping players not performing this corrupt activity very often.
Yeah, people would just group up and not like be
right.
in a guild, basically.
Yeah.
There would be a way around that, right? Like,
Yeah.
Next question is from Hakaiju, and they want to know about careers. Will there be development or design related jobs available at the Amsterdam office as well?
Oh, it's
And
not for
I
in-game.
don't
Yes.
think, well, we have development, like design related jobs?
Some guilds will mass
not
up
design,
and
but there
academic
might be
There are
like
some
live
design
ops.
related.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
No, not design related.
No,
That would
like
be
live
here in the
operations
States.
and publishing. So
The
that's
first
like,
thing I can see is some
creativity,
SAO
marketing,
fanboy
production.
gonna make a guild
Exactly.
called Laughing Cough, and
But
every
probably not so
PK is
much
gonna
on
join.
the, like development
And then
side. Design.
they're just gonna
art,
go out and get a bunch of
stuff,
corruption.
Correct.
engineering.
It's just like,
All right.
I don't even know why you'd want to do that with
Do we have
negative
time for
XP
a
and
couple
all that.
bonus questions, or should we wrap things up here?
We can take one more. The
Okay.
best question you can find.
Okay, roll me a 1d3. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. What? Oh, wait. Hold on.
Do you have a
Ready?
one?
Rolling the dice.
All right. It's a 4. So 2.
Somebody just
Okay,
got
so-
screwed.
Brain Dance's question. There was 3 questions that were on here as bonus ones. This one is in regards to caravans. Based on risk versus reward and PvP flagging not applying to caravans, what does a player risk when they attack a caravan? versus
Ooh, I
defending
love
your
this
caravan?
question.
Got it.
So
This is great.
what do I risk when I'm like gonna go attack a caravan?
Well, there's going to be gear degradation that occurs on death. In addition, obviously there's a time component, and also, there's going to be an associated quest system that determines when you're participating in a assault or a defense of a caravan, that it's going to track your record of successful defenses or successful attacks. And if you have failed attacks, so you've opted in to participate, and you have a failed attack, essentially you did not achieve your objective, that's going to count against your record in the quest system. So these are progressive quest systems where you are achieving something as either a highway robber or a defender of caravans, and your successes in each of those categories is going to determine the types of rewards that you're going to scale up over time based on that record. And that's the incentive/disincentive not to participate in something you don't think
Yeah, I
you
like
will
that
have
a
the
lot.
ability to achieve.
Interesting.
I like that a lot.
All right. Well, with that, that's our August development update. So thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it.
That's good, guys. Let me switch one screen here real fast.
Incoming attackers who we believe will be here.
Just play something in the background while we're talking about this here real fast. That last question right there, that was great. And that's kind of what the Validus Guild is kind of going. It might have changed a little bit. Both, you have a good night, man. Just starting to talk about Validus here a little bit too. You have a good one. Basically, back in 2020 when I asked about it, it might have changed a little bit. Not sure. Validus is kind of going a mercenary type of guild, like a guild fire type deal. So when they're talking about having like a record book, caravans, that would be like really great to have, because say both's our guild leader, right? And they check him out and go, we're gonna hire Validus to do his caravan, and they have 100% success rate at transferring his caravan. We're gonna buy those guys, pay them X amount, or whatever, yada yada yada, to get them to do this caravan. But now say we have like a 20% success rate, we ain't gonna get nothing for caravans. Maybe somebody's trying to hire us for attacking one, and we've never successfully gotten one. It's gonna show our failed attempts too. So that's gonna make it harder for a guild like Validus if you can't perform on what you're gonna do, which means you're gonna have to have your stuff together when you do something like that. Which is really cool, because it gives you kind of like a scoreboard type deal. Yeah, we are a protection guild. Guys, if you want to know more about the guild and you want to get into the guild, the description, this on the About Me page for my Twitch channel, that does have a Discord link to Validus's Ashes of Creation, and also have a Discord link to Validus New. Come check us out. Lots of great people here. The beta, so it's open, and for World starts September 9th. I believe that's going to be a free open beta. Anybody wants to play that will be on that. I'll be streaming that game. Be on Validus on there. Come check us out on the streams then and there. Hop in the Discord, get to know some people beforehand. We protect our own as the #1 objective. Yeah, no, definitely. But I like the mercenary type protection, guild for hire type deal that we were talking about. Like I said, this was a long time ago talking about this. And the economic systems like trade for allies. Exactly. It's so cool how much freedom Ashes gives you, and that's what makes it such a great game. At the beginning of the streams, they talked about dev discussions, which are 2 discussions on threads that they started on. The first one was guild members. What do you expect from a guild member? What do you think a good guild member is? What do you think a bad guild member is? And at the beginning of the stream, we kind of talked what I thought a good member would be based on what I expect myself to do, because I've never been a guild leader, so I don't know what a guild leader looks for, but I know what I should expect of myself for being a good guild member, showing up to guild events, being active in my Discord chat, being active on the game itself. These are just, you don't have to be there 7 days a week, 8 hours a day like a full job. Just showing that, you're excited and playing the game with. So that's all you need to be grinding every day, all month, all year. Just gotta play the game, have fun, and try and be productive and do stuff with your friends in the game. That's what an MMO is all about, playing with other people, meeting people that you would never have met in your entire life without playing on Ashes of Creation and second. Next discussion they had was new player experience. As a new player, what would you want to see when you come into the game? What kinds of things would you expect? #1 is being active. Exactly. If you're only on once a month, you're not really an active player. If you're on 3-4 days a week, I would say that's really active. If you're on every day, you are not a casual. Unless it's only for like 30 minutes and you're doing whatever. If you're on every single day for over 4 hours, you're not a casual. Casual, I would think, would be like 4 days a week at 5 hours a day. That's 20 hours. 24 hours of gaming per week. I think you're still above casual at that point. But back to new player experience. Something I like when I get into a game. It's like an open cinematic that kind of gets me build a relationship with the world, see the beautiful atmosphere. You know, I see the volcano, I see the trees, and then boom, comes down on my character. See my character that just looks richly built, like I have no, you know, I got raggedy clothing. All that's like an open cinematic of some sort. Then you enter, you know, a tutorial, which is skippable, which I think is important because some people don't want a tutorial. Some people just want to dive right into it and figure it out themselves. I'm one of those guys. I've done alpha testing and betas. I already know that I gotta press E or F or click on them to talk to them, you know? I don't need you to tell me that, you know? That's just a waste of my time at that point. When I think of new players, I think of day one player. Jump on day one. I'm a new player at that point. All new players, day one. Besides that, though, this is a really good dev discussion. We got some really good questions right at the end answered for us. Got to see progress, and they talked about the Alpha 1 and expect for Alpha 2. Everything's been great. If you enjoyed watching the dev discussion and you want to jump into the Discords with us and join Validus, everybody's welcome. Jump on in, check us out, see what's going on, meet some new people. If you have not made an Ashes of Creation account, if you join my Discord to the Umbral Yokai Twitch server, and you go to the Referral tab, you'll find a site link that brings you to the Ashes of Creation website, and you also find a take that referral code and you plug it in when you use your email address and a password to make a free Intrepid account. That's the account that you'll use for Ashes of Creation. And then if you do that, you get a 15% bump for everything that you buy, and that 15% goes to me. And the reason that's good for you is because that's going to turn around into content that could possibly go back to you too. It costs you nothing to use the referral code. The referral code money that I would be receiving from all the referral points would be spent on cosmetic items to give right back to people that are subscribers and followers and referral people of Ashes of Creation. Wouldn't be used on something of my own. And I think that's really important to use that stuff, guys. Because that's why we're streaming. It's for you guys. I'm just doing it for fun. You guys throw codes up there, that gives you guys more opportunities to get stuff from me that you otherwise wouldn't have. Other than that, it was a good stream, guys. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Next time they have a dev update, we'll be doing it the day after, most likely again. It'll probably be a Saturday. Other than the stream, you can catch us on Neverwinter, 8:30 Central Time on Tuesdays and Thursdays until the New World beta comes out on September 9th, 10th, 11th, I believe the 12th. I'll also be streaming. See, the 9th is a Thursday, so we'll stream New World that night. Probably won't do it the Friday night, but then a Saturday and Sunday I can definitely do. So we might have some really long weekend streams coming ahead. So keep an eye out for that on my schedule. Yeah, really, just thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.